All right, y'all ready?
Yeah.
So, is this a spare? If I stand up, is it going to be an issue? No, you're good.
I think you're okay. I think you're okay where you are there. You're okay.
Going up here?
Testing 1, 2.
Just go around. Just go around. Yeah, make it. Here we go, right?
I was testing to see which guys I said I could do it.
This guy can do anything.
Okay.
Just make sure he doesn't throw a fly.
From Wenzel Field on the campus of Metairie Park Country Day School in Old Metairie, it is time once again for high school football from Crescent City Sports. Is this afternoon. Got a good non-district matchup between a couple of outstanding programs in the Metro New Orleans area. The Riverside Academy Rebels make the trip out of the river parishes on into Jefferson to face the Country Day Cajuns. Hi again, everybody. Lenny Van Gilder along with Wade Kaiser, Chip Merritt, our producer, Matt Merritt on camera this afternoon. Let's start with this before we get into X's and O's, Wade. There is, look, I mean, the great thing about football is all the different settings you get to take in and different places you get to go, and different stadiums and different atmospheres. Late Friday afternoon in Old Metairie for a Country Day game is one of those unique settings that I think if you're a high school football fan, you've got to experience at least one time.
Right. You took the words right out of my mouth. If you're a New Orleanian and you're a fan of high school football in this metro area, this is a must-see event because it's beautiful. We've got nice fall weather. It's crisp. It's a day game that will kind of go into the evening, and it's no better place to be to watch high school football, especially with two really, really good programs.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Look, the Riverside 3-1, Country Day 2-2, and look at who they've played. The three losses are to teams that are all in the top three in our Crescent City Sports top 10s right now. Okay, so that gives you an idea that they've played good people, and yeah, they've some cases taken it on the chin, but that's who that's the only teams that have been able to knock them off. Riverside's only loss is to an outstanding Newman team. Country Day's losses the last 2 weeks are at Episcopal and then home against Amite, a 26-24 game that was really, a toss-up kind of game until the end. And this is a situation where, as you hit the midway point today, it's hard to believe we're at week 5 already, but it's, this is a key game that could really go either way, and history suggests this game can go either way.
Well, both programs never shy away from playing competition, right? So they're going to play the best competition that they can find. Also, I understand exactly how hard it is to schedule. It isn't that you call somebody up and say, hey, let's play, and the other person from the other school says, yeah, let's play. It doesn't work out that way. So scheduling is really hard, but these guys, these two programs, have never shied away from playing the best competition that they can possibly play in the preseason. And you're right, week 5, it has flown by.
Yeah. The Riverside Rebels take the field to the far sideline. And the Riverside Band is here for a 4:30 kick. You gotta like that. We'll wait for Country Day and their entrance from over in the Riley Recreation Center. They'll make their way from their locker room to our right momentarily. The guy we're going to really keep an eye on, and you'll hear his name called a bunch, is number 7 in white, Elijah Davis. And Wade, we're at week 5, so we've had 4 games.
Right.
He's already over 1,000 yards on the season. Well, that's how good he is.
He's the leading rusher in the metro area.
He's the leading rusher in the state.
Yes. I know the metro for sure. Yeah. And bringing in with 1,022 yards rushing already on the season. Look, he's a downhill runner, right? And we're going to see him tonight, and you'll hear me say it. I'm sure we'll see it from the very first run, is where his shoulder pad level is and how he gets his shoulder pad level down and his legs churning. He's a one-cut-and-go type of guy. And, when you talk to Lee Roussel, the head football coach at Riverside Academy, he says, look, and who has spent many years in college football too, and has coached at the 5A level, like for example at Rummel High School. He says he's one of the best that he's seen at the high school level, and he's going to have a great career at the college level.
He's a commitment to UL Lafayette, but that hasn't stopped the offers from rolling in. He got an offer earlier this week from the University of Memphis, among others. That's you'd like to think we know the reality of how recruiting works now.
Yes.
Just because you're committed doesn't mean it's over. It's not over until you sign, either at the end of December or on the first Wednesday of February.
And I'll even go out there and say this, that even after you do sign,
with the
even
transfer
after you do
portal,
play a year, there's the thing called the transfer portal and this little thing called the NIL that just doesn't stop the recruiting. So here you go. You work your tail off as a college recruiter to recruit high school kids or junior college kids to your program, right? You better continue recruiting while they're in your program. It doesn't stop.
Right. Now, both of these teams have battled some injuries over the course of the early part of the season. And you know, we talked about this last week. You've coached at the lower classification level of this sport. You get an injury can mean 3 injuries because you've got a guy playing offense, you got a guy playing defense, you got a guy playing multiple special teams in all likelihood. So one injury can have a trickle-down effect that's pretty massive for you.
Look, it could be 7 to 8 positions, as well as backup positions, major backup positions. Let's just take hypothetically, you're a wide receiver, right? You're also the backup quarterback. You're the backup corner, you're the starting corner on defense. You cover punts. You return punt returns. You return kickoffs, right? You also cover kicks. Why? Because you're one of the fastest guys getting down the field.
No doubt.
You have an injury, it affects a domino all the way through your program, and it can be up to 8 positions.
Cajuns take the field. They are in head-to-toe, well, not head-to-toe, but jerseys and pants in royal blue with the white helmets. Riverside is on the far side. You can see there the navy blue headgear with the white jerseys and the navy blue pants. We are going to pause for our national anthem. Our national anthem from Old Metairie as we get set for kickoff on this late Friday afternoon. Riverside and Country Day. We mentioned, Wade, Lee Roussel, first-year head coach at Riverside, got a first-year head coach on the Country Day side as well. And Chris Chetta, former assistant, he was on Guy LeComp's staff here the last couple of years, was a former assistant at Amite, at Rummel, at Jesuit. So he, too, has seen different levels of the game and getting a chance to be a head coach here this year.
Chris is a very good football coach. He's coached at all levels now, right? He's now a varsity head football coach, but he's coached from the playground on up. He coached in the 8th and the 9th grade program for me a couple of years at Jesuit, and he did it with Mark Sanji also. And then from that standpoint, he's been a varsity assistant under some really awesome coaches that have allowed him to be able to flourish. So, yeah, Chris Chet is doing a great job. It was exciting to hear that he got the opportunity, and he's going to continue to take the Country Day program in the right direction. Wow.
So coin toss, yeah, I mean, look, we picked the right day to be here, okay?
Absolutely.
This is like, the first Friday of the year where we're really feeling some football weather. All right, I believe Country Day won the toss and deferred, so they're giving Riverside the option. Country Day is going to, if that's the case.
Attention in the press box. We need to open the press box door. Somebody is standing on the press box door.
So we'll get a shake of the hands from the captains and get ready for football here on this Friday.
Well, you're going to see a lot of the running game out of Riverside today, obviously, with Elijah Davis, but you're also going to see a good running game with the Country Day offense, too, and you're going to also see them kind of stretch the ball vertically a few times because they have some outstanding groups of receivers that they like to try to stretch the field with. So it's going to be interesting to see how both sides, from the defensive standpoint, adjust to what each offense does the best.
Yeah, we talked about injuries, and that's one of the things we did not get into was the fact that Country Day lost their starting quarterback, Sanad Bland, in Week 3. So McAllister Calejo has taken over as the starter. Will be starting his second consecutive game. So you're going to see we mentioned we're going to get an early look at Elijah Davis. You're also going to get an early look at Connor Gibbs, who's about to put it on the tee, the Country Day kicker. He is getting a lot of looks out there. He is arguably the best kicker in the metro area. And they will give him a shot to kick field goals. You're going to generally see touchbacks on kickoffs. And he's got a little breeze at his back, I believe, as we get set for football. As Gibbs puts it on the tee, and we get set to go from Old Metairie. And away we go. That's out of the end zone for a touchback.
Yeah, right. He didn't need breeze for that, right? High, deep, and gone. Looks like 99's 61 home run last night, right?
That was out there a little bit, huh?
Yes. So here we go. New defensive coordinator at Country Day. Very well acquainted with him. Troy Baglio comes over from Jesuit. He's going to bring a lot of experience to Country Day, especially on the defensive side of the ball with his schemes and the things he likes to do. One of the best defensive line coaches, if not in the state, I would say in the country. He's outstanding. You're going to see a lot of 8- and 9-man front to try to put a handle on Elijah Davis.
Davis lines up alongside Luke Hemel, the quarterback, and on first down they're going to run jet sweep with Emmanuel Franklin Jr., and that is well defended by this Cajun defense. It's a loss of 2 and second down and 12.
Look, here's the first key you got to do when you run jet sweep. You got to block number 2 from the sideline, right? Nobody blocked the strong safety that was rolled down in the box sitting out there, or outside linebacker, if you want to call him that. And there was nobody to put a body on him. Thus, he makes the tackle for the loss, and they're staring at second and long.
You talked about it. You see those, you're seeing 10 guys maybe within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Now they'll back one down. And we get our first look at Davis on 2nd and 12, and not much doing there. He might have got back to the original line of scrimmage.
You're going to see a lot of twists, slanting, different stunts and maneuvers up front between the front 4 or the front 3, depending on whether they're going to be a nickel or they're 4-man front. Right now, they're there in 4-man front. So look for those guys in blue to be able to play different type of defensive line games to try to gain an advantage on an experienced Riverside offensive line.
3rd and 11. The line to make is right at the 30. Hemel will roll in big trouble, and he is brought down. That was Casey Rizzi.
Casey Rizzi comes clean. If you look back at your replay, look at the 2 inside defensive tackles. That is a pinch technique. You got one defensive tackle coming down, the other defensive tackle coming out. Nobody picks up the end. It causes confusion up front for the offensive line. One person pops free, and the result is a sack. Ball went backwards rather than forwards.
Yep. And if that last name rings a bell, Rizzi, his dad is Darren Rizzi, the special teams coach for the New Orleans Saints, who, for all we know, might be watching in London right now. If you are, Darren, cheerio. It's 10:30 at night over there. So the punting unit is on. And Hemel handles the punting. This will be to the 44-yard line. And Schwing on the return will get it out past the 40 to about the 36-yard line. So great field position for Riverside, or for Country Day rather, to start their first drive, as we're just inside the 10-minute mark of the first quarter.
The other name we're going to talk a lot about today from Country Day is Jack Schwing. He just caught that punt right there and got positive yardage.
He'll do a lot.
He'll do a lot. Yeah. He's one of those ultimate football players that will do it on offense, defense, special teams. He won't come off the field. And that's the great thing. I keep saying that about seeing single A and double A football. It's the chance to see these guys be complete football players.
Schwing will get the handoff on first down as he lines up a tailback, and a nice run on first down. Looks like he got about 7 or 8 yards off the left side.
Running outside zone stretch. Everybody's going to get a nice little reach on their defensive counterpart and try to get to the edge. And once he gets to the edge out there, he wants to climb the mountain. And you're going to see, if you saw it on the replay, he got to that point. He made a north and south cut, and he sets up a great second and short for Country Day.
He will line up at wide receiver. He'll line up at tailback. Might even see him in a little wildcat.
Look,
you'll see him on defense at times, yeah. So he'll be wherever he needs to be. Gets it again here, spins off a tackler, and it's like he got stopped just short of the first down.
Great stop in there for the Riverside defense. That was number 54, Amari Alexander, 6'2", 315-pound junior. He's a load to move. He gets off the block and just pushes the defensive line right back into the hole to plug that thing up. You got some nice size by that Riverside defensive front up there. You got Alexander, you've got Smith at linebacker, you've got Gibson, and you've got Brumfield. These guys, Brumfield's a defensive back. You've got Henry. Good size for that Riverside front.
Henry, number 5, 270 pounds. That does it. You see more and more of that of these guys wearing single-digit numbers. As Schwing once again on the carry, it looks like they will give him forward progress to the 25 and a first down.
Look, running inside those tackles is going to be rough today for that Country Day offensive line, especially as those guys that do play both ways are going to kind of wear down as the afternoon goes on. So they're going to have to be able to mix up some inside and outside offensive plays to kind of keep this Riverside defense, on guard.
So the ball at the 25-yard line after 3 runs by Schwing gets 11 yards and a first down. Kaleo has 3 receivers, bottom of your screen. Will give it away once again, and Schwing is brought down in the backfield. A nice hit that time. Scott White on the tackle, the senior who will play both ways. You'll see him at tight end, and there he's on the defensive line.
Boy, another 6'1", 235, huge defensive lineman that plays tight end, as you said, for that Riverside front. They've got some big guys up front. And if you look at the offensive line from Country Day, they're not extremely large. Now, they're great offensive linemen, great feet and all of that type of stuff. But when you're matching a wall against a smaller guy, usually the wall ends up winning. Got to get the ball outside here on the edge somehow.
Yeah. Right. Schwing, nothing to be ashamed of running the football. He's got 591 yards on the season coming in. High snap. Schwing actually took the snap at quarterback that time and handed it off to Taj Oberhelman.
Schwing did a nice job getting that snap. That isn't where you want to try to put the snap, obviously. Watch the athletic play by Schwing here. There you go. High, gives it off. Tackle again to
Oberhelman.
Thank you very much. Oberhelman. I had to get my mouth around that one. And it's going to bring up a 3rd and long.
3rd and 12. Line to make is the 15.
the great thing Country Day has in the pocket, like you said at the start, was Connor Gibbs, who can. This is well within inside his range.
This is field goal range, certainly. Right. Wind at his back. I mean, it's
correct.
Yeah, this
well
is
within inside his shooting range.
No doubt about it. I want to try to get a little here, but obviously if you don't, you got a shot at 3. Quarterback will keep up the middle, and he's got the first down. Callejo needed 12. He got 13. Nothing opened up in the, receiver-wise, and he just put it down and went with it.
Well, everybody from Riverside's out of their lanes, right? Okay, so they just get washed by. Callejo sees nothing open downfield. Smartly, he tucks it and gets vertical, and he knew where to get to the sticks. And that's important for a football player in high school to know where the sticks are. You know why you want to do that? You want to make sure that you can get that +1, right? Yeah. 1 more yard. And you know how you do this? You work in practice every day with chains.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And the ball now at the 14-yard line, and we've already hit the 6-minute hydration break. Wade's getting hydrated. Don't really need it as much on a day like this, but still, it's in there through the month of September. Gives us a chance to remind you that today's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by the Lamarque Motor Company in Kenner. Lamarque Lincoln is the only Lincoln Black Label dealership in the market. It's more than ownership, it's membership. Must be a reason. Go check out that Lamarque campus in Kenner on Williams Boulevard. And by the way, you've got Lamarque Crescent City trucks now on Jefferson Highway. So the campus is expanding.
It's bigger and bigger and bigger. All throughout Kenner.
From the 14. Give it away on first down. And Schwing is stood up. Might have gotten a couple on the play.
I think that was Caleb Brumfield. From his defensive back position, they walked him down in the box, and he met him right in the middle of the hole. Look at that shot right there. First there's a missed block in the hole, and then all of a sudden Caleb Brumfield steps up and puts a helmet right on the pads. Great tackle by Caleb Brumfield.
One of the other things that you can do defensively to stop a guy like Davis if you're Country Day is you get the ground game going and you play keep away with the football.
No doubt. He's not on the field.
If he's not on the field, he can't run it, he can't score.
We're at 5:17, 5:16 in the first quarter. They're playing keep away.
Schwing, nowhere to go right there. That was great penetration that time by the Riverside Academy front 7, and it looks like no gain on the play.
You're absolutely right about the penetration right there. Look at that. Everything's white, like a huge wall just stepping up right there and handling up on Schwing as he's trying to look for room off tackle right there in the inside zone scheme.
Officially no gain. Might have lost about a half a yard on the play. It's 3rd and a long 8. The line to make is the 4-yard line here. So again, that, knowing that you've got that kind of kicker, does that change the way you call things right here? They'll take a shot or at least drop the quarterback back.
That's what you don't want.
Yeah, you take a sack right there. That was Martrell Henry, the 6'1", 270-pound sophomore who brought down Callejo in the backfield for a sack. It'll go as a loss of 6 on the play.
Look, he just kind of removed the guard and stepped right up and made the sack right there. Holding on the ball too long. Callejo's got to get rid. If it isn't there, he's got to throw it away. You don't want to give up the yardage for the kick. So if you ask me, do you call games? You tell your quarterback, hey, if it ain't there, throw it away. Let's kick the ball. We'll take the 3.
Well, here's Gibbs now with a 35-yard field goal try. Kick is on the way. Plenty of leg, and it is good.
There we go.
So your new score comes with 3:43 remaining in the first quarter. Country Day kept it for 6 minutes right there, even though they only made a couple of first downs. It was a 10-play drive, and your score, Country Day 3 and Riverside nothing. So the most impressive thing about that drive, Wade, 6 minutes and 8 seconds off the clock.
Right. I mean, keep away is good. That's a part of a game plan to make sure you hold the ball for as long as you can on the 40-second clock, right, and make sure you're snapping it with little time left there as it winds down. But the thing is, you got to make sure you're getting positive yardage. You want to make sure you stay, obviously, in the opponent's end of the field, and then you know you can weaponize your kicker at any time, because when you're down there, you're well within his range.
Now Gibbs to kick it off. We saw him put the first one out of the end zone.
I think he's aiming for the blue tent back there.
Maybe so. I think he mishit that one, Wade. Yeah, that only went 8 yards deep. So that's 2 touchbacks. I believe he was 9 for 9 on touchbacks the last 2 weeks. So if that's the case, that's 11 straight over 3 games now.
Okay.
And look, it takes the return game out of play, and it makes you have to go 80 yards as an opposing offense. Now, when you've got a back like Davis in there, it's a little bit different situation.
Well, now they've got to get the ball in Davis's hands, start to establish him this series right now behind that big offensive line. Again, watch Country Day play a lot of games up front, twisting and turning and slanting to try to get some penetration.
Give it away to Davis on first down. Room to run, and out near the sticks, Davis gets about 9. So Riverside went in the wrong direction on the first series, lost 10 yards. They get 9 on first down here from Davis.
So watch Preston Brown, number 19. He slants inside. He beats the tight end. They have the penetration, but look how good right there. Elijah Davis, one step and cuts and gets vertical. Avoids the penetration, gets north and south.
Davis will get it again on 2nd and 1, and look at the hit in the backfield right there. And that was coming off the edge. That was Clayton Gaiman, the 6'2", 208-pound senior. You're going to see him some at tight end wide receiver, but there from his outside linebacker position, got in the backfield and brought down Davis for a loss of 2.
He just slants inside across the face of Craig Matt, the left offensive tackle, and just beats him inside, right? Matt didn't even get a paw on him. That's not going to look good on film tomorrow, so they're going to have to straighten that out when they get to the boundary. Again, a pinch technique or a slanting technique out of that Country Day defensive line.
Davis was lined up wide, shifts back into the backfield here on 3rd and 3, and nowhere to go, as making the play from his linebacker spot is Cameron Rizzi. That's Casey Rizzi's brother, the sophomore. Steps up and makes the hit for no gain, and a couple of, presumably a punt situation here, but that's 2 series and no first downs for this Riverside Rebel offense, Wade.
Penetration, again, by that defensive line. They're moving around so fast up front that the guys in white, Riverside's offensive line, they're not even putting a paw on them. They're going to have to be able to get a bead on the slanting and the twisting and the pinching that Country Day's defensive line is doing.
High snap. Hemel, the quarterback, is also the punter, and he'll get a friendly roll there, and it will go down just past the Country Day 45-yard line, and that's where the Cajuns will take over with 92 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
Smart move by Schwing right there. The ball's kind of shanked off to the right. He immediately starts to peter the ball, get his team out of the way, and the ball comes to rest at the 35-yard line, their own 35-yard line. They're starting with great field position again.
Once again, they started the first drive at the Riverside 36. This one will get underway at the Country Day 45-yard line. So from the 45, it will be Callejo under center. Give it away on first down, and not much doing right there for Schwing, who got back to the line of scrimmage.
Trying to still pound at that wall up front, right? And there's some big guys in there for Riverside, and they're going to, Country Day's going to find it hard running inside those tackles all day long. Now, this Riverside defense is solid.
They are solid. Now, keep in mind, Schwing got 8 on the first play from scrimmage.
Outside zone stretch, right? We haven't seen him come back to it.
Right. 6 carries since then for 4 yards. He's got 7 runs for 12 yards here in the first quarter. So both of these defenses playing very well. Handling the high snap was Callejo, but had nowhere to go. And Callejo may be injured. He is still down on a play.
Well, Jaden Butler came from his strong safety position like a missile downhill, playing the 2-high cover 4 type of look, and he's right in the alley flying down there and puts his body on him, and looks like Callejo came down on his shoulder. We certainly hope he's okay.
Yeah, but that's 21, right. Caleb Brumfield also in on the stop.
So that's the way you play safety versus the run, right? It's a flat foot read. You're reading the tackle box and you're reading through to the backfield. And as that ball comes downhill like that on an outside path, something of that nature, that's going to trigger you as a safety to come flying down, fitting off the linebacker into the alley. And he certainly came flying down and he put a pop on Callejo.
Yeah, and Callejo being worked on, and on the near side here in front of us, Schwing is taking throws right now. So that tell you, you talk about that, guys have to be ready to play anything.
Right.
We've seen him at running back. We'll see him at wide receiver at some point, probably on defense. Now he may be the quarterback.
Well, that's what it's all about at this level. Okay, guys doing different things. You get the ball into your athlete's hands and you make sure that your athlete knows a lot of different positions because you never know when they're going to be called on. Looks like he's up. That's a good sign.
Yeah, you hope he's okay and gets a chance to get back in here. They'll get him over to the bench and take a further look at him. But for now, it will be Jack Schwing operating at quarterback, the senior. And in a clear passing situation here, as it's 3rd down and 15. Although, look, you just don't. It's a situation. You've got the lead right now. You've really, played well, especially on the defensive side here. You've got an outstanding kicking game. This is a situation where you just don't want to make a mistake either.
Correct.
Schwing will run it himself. Gets tripped up and stopped. That was Scott White on the tackle. And a gain of about 3 yards, and it will be 4th down and 12, and the punting unit will come on, and that will also be Gibbs handling the punting.
Scott White plays off his block from his outside linebacker position right there by getting a nice, good stiff arm, and then eludes the blocker and makes a great one-arm tackle.
And that is the end of a briskly paced first quarter, we shall say. What happened on a nice afternoon here in Old Metairie. 12 minutes in the books.
Briskly paced.
Yeah, your score, Country Day 3, Riverside nothing. More after this. You're watching high school football from Crescent City Sports. So we get set to start the second quarter. Team switch ends. Connor Gibbs will punt it from right to left. We've seen his leg already on a field goal, on a couple of touchbacks on kickoffs. We'll get a first look at him as a punter. And that will take a friendly roll and goes down at the 21-yard line. So the punt will be 36 yards on the punt.
Well, look for Riverside, again, to have to get their guy going, right? Hopefully they've made some adjustments over on the boundaries with their offensive line to pick up the stunts from Country Day, get a handle on that, and then they've got to get Davis going here.
So the football at the 21-yard line. Best field position for Riverside. Those 2 touchbacks, they started at the 20. And Davis, not afraid to take on anybody. He just took on Oberhelman right there, who's also a linebacker. You're talking about those guys playing both ways.
Yeah,
They got 4.
Right. 5'10", 187 pounds, steps up into the hole. He wasn't afraid to take on Davis, and Davis was not afraid to take on him. Watch this tackle. Bang. He's got to get his shoulder pad level down. We're talking about Taj Overhaven right there getting his pad level down because he's kind of took it in the chest.
So Davis, 5 carries for 12 yards thus far. And this is a guy who comes in averaging over 250 yards a game. And not much doing there on second down. Might have gotten, looks like they gave him forward progress out to the 18-yard line.
Out to the 18-yard line. Great job.
Or check that, the 28-yard line.
A name that very familiar in the Country Day annals. His older brother plays at Tulane. Jake Ibieta makes the tackle.
Going with a long count here. Had some movement up front of the Country Day defensive line, but nobody went into the neutral zone. Now they'll motion out Davis, and they'll let the quarterback keep it. This is Hemel off the left side, and he got the first down.
32-yard line.
There's your RPO or your zone read or whatever you want to call it these days, right? He reads the last guy on the line of scrimmage, and the last guy on the line of scrimmage comes down, takes the running back. He's going to pull the ball, and he's going to go where the defensive lineman vacated.
So that is the first down of the afternoon for Riverside, coming about 13 and a half minutes into this one. And here comes our first pass of the day. Hemel's going to dial one up, and it's nearly intercepted by Oberhelman, who dropped nicely from his linebacker position, as that was intended for Emmanuel Franklin Jr., the wide receiver, the senior.
Hey, look, that's a tough route to cover, and Oberhelman does a great job getting underneath the deep out right there on the second receiver, running the 3-high stretch on the sideline. Boy, I tell you what a great athletic play by that linebacker. He gets underneath the pass and almost picks the ball off.
On 2nd and 10, Davis off the right side, falls forward, give him about the 36-yard line, give him a gain of 4.
3rd down and 6 from the 36-yard line.
So Davis, keep you updated all day long, 7 carries for 19 yards.
Taj Oberhelman on that stop. So he makes a great play on the pass, right? And he comes right back and makes a great tackle on Elijah Davis.
On 3rd and 6, Davis just took on Oberhelman that time and got the first down.
Look, that's what he does well, right? They run backside G, meaning they pull the guard from the backside and isolate him up on the linebacker. They get a great block on the linebacker, and downhill comes Elijah Davis. That is his bread and butter. That's what he wants to do. He wants to run at you. He wants to run in between the tackles, and that's what Riverside needs to try to continue to do to try to wear down this Country Day defensive line and linebackers.
We got it. Injured Cajun being tended to. It gives us a chance to remind you that today's coverage on Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Ochsner Sports Medicine Institute, treating more than 30,000 athletes a year with innovative treatments for sports injuries. Visit ochsner.org/sportsmed to learn more. And our thanks to the folks at Ochsner for their support of high school sports and everything going on at Crescent City Sports.
You know, the great thing that they do, Lenny, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago, is that takes a lot of pressure off high school trainers and their coaches, allowing to get their guys assessed as quickly as possible. And not just their guys, their girl athletes, everybody assessed quickly the next day after games if there's been any type of injury. And it really, really takes a load of pressure off of coaches' minds, knowing that the guys are getting treated.
Got those Saturday appointments available. There was Cameron Rizzi, the sophomore linebacker, who walked off under his own power. So at the 44, Riverside getting a little something going here. A couple of 3rd down conversions. Play action on 1st down, and a nice pass out in the flat, and a 1st down, and then some rumbling down the sidelines, but he stepped out of bounds. That was the tight end, Scott White. We talked about him on defense There he shows you something on the offensive end. He stepped out at the 28-yard line. It's a gain of 28 on the play, Wade.
RPO, he looks up and sees that he has the numbers out there. We're talking about Hemel. He gets the ball as quickly as he can out to big Scott White, and he goes rumbling down the boundary, right? It's RPO, counting numbers. If I got the numbers out there, I take it. If I don't, I give the ball off on a handoff with the run.
And he gives it off here on first down, and guess who? Davis, still on his feet. Down the sidelines, stepped out of bounds, shy of the end zone.
You know, here we are 9 minutes into the second quarter, and this is where the size of Riverside starts to pound on the particular defensive front of Country Day. He just isn't as large, and if they can get a handle on those stunts like I had talked earlier about, then is the result and what will take place.
39 yards on this drive for Davis. 24 on that last carry, and he'll go Wildcat right here. Davis, and he walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Capping a 9-play, 79-yard drive. And Riverside made that look pretty easy right there. After back-to-back 3-and-outs, they moved the length of the field in 3 minutes to take their first lead.
Well, it started with the RPO, right? And you've got to make sure if you've got two, you've got to have two. You can't have one out there. And if you've got one out there or you have somebody that is outflanking you on defense, then what happens is they're going to come to the RPO and they're going to throw the football and they're going to get the angle on you, and that's exactly what happened. Allow Scott White to rumble down and set up the touchdown by Elijah Davis.
Now Craig Matt, who you mentioned on the offensive line earlier, he handles the place kicking. He knocked that one through.
Isn't that great?
And it's a 7-3 Riverside lead with 8:49 remaining in the first half.
Isn't that great? You got offensive linemen that are kickers. You got quarterbacks that play receivers. I mean, this is why, lower level single A football is just it's magnificent, and then you can't ask for a better day to watch some great football right here at Country Day.
No doubt about it. It is a spectacular sun-splashed day, not a cloud in the sky. And we should send our thoughts and prayers to everyone in Florida who just had to deal with Hurricane Ian, and now it's
a year ago
getting ready to hit South Carolina again. Not as strong, but still a Category 1 hurricane, I believe, as it's going to make landfall.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a year ago we were sitting there and I was looking through a hole in the roof of my house, and I know how those folks down in Florida are feeling, and all along the East Coast going into South Carolina. You guys, our thoughts and prayers are definitely with you. We've been there, right?
No doubt. So Riverside will kick it off. It will be Matt to handle the kicking. Schwing is the deepest of the deep. This is a short kick taken in at the 20-yard line, but it's bobbled and then falling forward. Mason Snyder, who will fall at the 24-yard line and avert a little disaster right there.
Well, it goes back to the old adage: ball above your hands, right? You gotta make sure that you catch it properly, get those fingers together up top, and make sure you bring it into your body. Don't knock it down, right? Because that ball's live.
Well, that's a good sign here, as back in the game is Coelho at quarterback.
Yes, that is.
And he'll have Schwing lined up at tailback. Give it away on first down. Schwing off the right side, got about 3 yards.
Look, that's a hard 3 yards too, correct? All right, so he's grinding and working and grinding. But what that does is that keeps them on schedule. It keeps them in between the chains, and it keeps that clock running for them.
Yeah, officially a gain of 4. 2nd and 6.
Country Days, one of the things they would have written on their board in their locker room this week is let's take no negative plays or negative yardage, because it is so vital that we control the clock. So that is huge.
Part of being able to do that, like you say, is you got to stay on schedule.
Correct.
Schwing really got low that time and got behind his offensive line for a gain of 5, and it's going to be 3rd and short.
Like that 3rd and short. That's what they want to be in. That is keeping them on schedule. And now it opens up a lot of things that they can do, and love to see some sort of little play action pass right here.
It's 3rd and a foot, really.
Right.
It's officially at the 33-yard line, as he did not reach the line to gain the 34. So call it the 33, even though the ball was almost touching the 34. I formation, quarterback sneak right there. And nice call that time by Caleo as he just went forward and got 6 yards. Saw an opportunity there, and I don't know if that was a call play or if that was just a read that he made, but he got 6 yards out of it.
Well, we'll never know, but it is either one or the other, and it's also, the old anytime that they come up and they quick snap it right on the very first sound, and that's in a lot of offenses. That's a part of their playbook. You walk up and make the first sound click, first sound grunt, first sound tap, whatever you want to do, and get that ball snapped and try to catch that defensive line a little bit on their haunches.
By the way, coming up at halftime, we'll visit with Jude Young, who will take us through the Crescent City Sports State Top 10s along with games to watch for tonight. That's the nice part about a 4:30 game. You could get out of here and go catch another game if you want to.
There are some great games going on in the metro area tonight. Catholic League, a lot of big Catholic League games going on tonight. Great weekend for football here in Louisiana.
One at Yeoman Stadium, John Curtis Holy Cross over at Tad Gormley tonight. You got St. Aug Jesuit. And in Berman Stadium hosting a Catholic League game for the first time in a while. Brother Martin making the trip across the river to take on Edna Carr. That should be a good one this evening.
That's going to be a great one.
Schwing makes one man miss, kind of spun away and got it out to about the 44-yard line.
Schwing is definitely the workhorse. He's going to ram it up in there, and he's going to be physical. He's going to run downhill. Credit Country Day, they're working that clock. They want to keep it close. They want to keep it in striking distance. They want to be able to make sure that they keep the ball out of the hands of Mr. Davis, right? And
no doubt.
So far have done that.
No doubt. Until that last drive, really non-factor. But we'll call that last play officially a gain of 4 to the 45 as they spotted out past the 44-yard line as we hit the 6-minute hydration break here. Comes officially at the 5:58 mark. Think of the 6-minute hydration break like you would think of the 2-minute warning. Works under the same rules. The play's running, then you stop the clock as soon as the play is over, whatever it is.
Correct. Make sure guys get hydrated down. Make sure the officials get hydrated down. And as we move into October, if the officials feel like they need it, they'll continue to do it. If not, they probably will stop it.
And some of that trickles down now that the LHSA assigns officials. Some of that trickles down from the office in Baton Rouge that you're going to do this across the state or, whatever the case may be. So it's 3rd down and a long 4 at the 45. Play action, room to run for Vallejo, but he's going to throw. Callejo, it's caught out there. First down, out past midfield and into Riverside territory. That's the first time we call Yash Gupta's name this afternoon.
Well, there's your play action pass. So you see what that does? That kind of freezes everybody, especially the linebackers. And what it did was slow down the safeties, correct? You've got to do something to keep those guys from coming down in the box so fast and banging up your run game. And the nice little play action off the ISO pass there, bootleg action, that will do it.
So after 17 running plays, that's the first pass play by Country Day. They have dropped back a couple of times. One was a scramble, one was a sack. Going off the right side with room to run and falling forward out near the sticks. That's Jack Schwing once again. It's like a gain of about 8.
Again with the outside stretch. We saw that earlier in the first quarter. They haven't come back to it. But what has to happen is defensively, Riverside needs to make sure they get their safety down in that alley and needs to make a tackle. You can't miss the tackle when you get there, and that's what happened. And again, that keeps Country Day on schedule.
Schwing now with 37 yards on 13 carries. He has worked hard for those 37 yards.
It's called grinding. You got to keep grinding. Right, grind, grind, grind.
55 total yards for Country Day. Handled the high snap, handed off to Schwing, who's got room around the near side. Out to about the 25-yard line, first down Cajuns.
Look, credit McAllister right there, Calejo, for jumping up there and getting that ball down where he can get it into the hands of his running back. And, otherwise,
that could have been. You could have been chasing that down back into your own territory.
Great athletic play by McAllister Calejo.
So the Cajuns with their best drive on the heels of Riverside's best drive. In the red zone at the 16-yard line. Last time they were in the red zone, couldn't punch it in, had to settle for a field goal. Schwing out near the 10.
Great tackle again by Jaden Butler from his defensive back, safety position, stepping it down to fit into a run fit to make a nice tackle. That's what a safety. I'm really impressed by these Riverside safeties playing in a too-high look. Basically what it's called is cover 4. These guys are in run support so fast. They're down there and they're short tacklers. They are making plays. Now, what do you have to do? You got to run play action to freeze those guys.
Now it's Oberhelman at running back. And at the 3:14 mark of the first or second quarter, Wade, guess what? That's our first flag of the afternoon. Offsides against Riverside.
No, it's a clean game. And the officials are letting them play. Love it when officials let them play, right?
First down, 5-yard penalty. First and 10.
So now they're in the red zone. I mistakenly said they were in the red zone previously. Now they're at the 16-yard line. Schwing getting a breather right now. It is Oberhelman at tailback, Sinet at fullback.
Again, they're working the clock, running it all the way down. Yep. They're going to get the signal in, and they're going to play the keep-away game.
Yep. Play clock down to 9. Give it away, Oberhelman. Big bruising. Back, gets up in there, and probably got about 3.5 on first down.
Still
keeps you on schedule.
Right. Keeps you on schedule. Still trying to run right at the wall of that Riverside defensive line. Look at the down kick out right there. Great block by number 22 from Country Day, the fullback.
That's Alden Sinet.
Alden Sinet does a nice job at his fullback position getting a kick out on the defensive end, and you see how the backside guard wrapping around to come get up on the linebacker.
So on 2nd and 7, Schwing is back in the game at tailback, and now Oberhelman slides down to the fullback spot. Quarterback will put it down and run with it. Out near the sticks, he's brought down inside the 10. And it's going to be 3rd and short.
A little sprint out, looking for the receiver at the top of your screen. You know, I'm not sure if that wasn't a design run from the beginning, because did you see the receiver blocking downfield? I don't know if there was a miscommunication between the receiving corps and the quarterback or if it was a design run, but receivers blocking downfield, not running a route, so that kind of nullifies the ball getting thrown, right? Yeah. Very smart job by Calejo right there holding on to it if it wasn't a design run.
So it's 3rd and 1. And Calejo on the quarterback keeper again. The second time we've seen that on 3rd and short. I think he got the first down here, Wade, waiting on whether they will move the chains or what's going to happen.
It's going to be close.
They're putting 4th down on a stick, so they called it no gain. They called it shorter the line to gain.
Oh my! Decision time here for Country Day, right?
Yeah, and when you
might be trying to long snap him here, not hold the ball, or long count him here, or draw him off sides.
Play clock at 7. You got a full house backfield. Now they'll shift one out. We'll get a whistle and timeout called by Country Day to talk about this. Well, look, this is a different situation than maybe you're used to with most high school teams. You get down in this area, and you know it's 4-down territory. When you've got a kicker like Gibbs, where it's effectively an automatic 3 at that point, it probably changes your line of thinking a little bit.
Well, in this game, especially the high school game, it's not just the kicker. In this case, it changes your thinking. It's the guy on the other side of the field, number 7, that also changes your thinking too,
sure.
right? So, it's amazing. Everybody, you're watching everything on Sunday. Everybody's got a kicker, right? Everybody's got a quarterback, right? Everybody's got a running back, right?
Everybody doesn't have one at this level, no question.
Correct. So now you've got all these multiple things going through your mind as far as making a decision. That's the other thing I would have done if I was Chris Chetta is I would have been yelling and screaming to try to get some sort of measurement out there just to buy a little bit of time for me to make a little bit better decision to maybe if I didn't want to waste that time out, right? But anyway, the point being is that I would look for them to try to draw them off sides right here and then maybe kick the 3. We'll see.
Clock at 29.1 seconds, right? They give it away, and that's a first down. Schwing on the carry.
First down, Country Day.
Falling forward for the first down. Schwing, he gets it. Wow.
And now we got another timeout, Country Day. As the clock is at 20.1 seconds. Schwing has been outstanding on this drive. He's got 8 carries for 40 yards on this drive. 20.7 is actually the time on the clock, as you see on your screen.
20.7, and we have the count as Country Day having 1 timeout left, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah.
If you're...
You can run a couple of plays in here. I mean, obviously, I think you got to pass,
You can run the football, absolutely.
You can run it. Everything's in the playbook right now with timeouts remaining.
Exactly. One of the things that you can also do here is on this first down play, it's a great opportunity to run that bootleg play action pass that they ran earlier for that completion on the boundary.
Yeah, and the other thing too is you talk about the whole run pass option thing. If you roll the quarterback out, then you start thinking about depending on how they defend it here, you might let the quarterback put it down and run with it.
Right, whole different option.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, Callejo under center will indeed roll. Dragging the tight end across the formation. Touchdown, back of the end zone to Clayton Gaiman.
I like the play call. I like the thinking right there. There's your bootleg. Hits the backside drag for the touchdown. Gaiman right there running across the backside of the back line of the end zone. There he is. Great pass. Throw it up. Where he can go up and get the ball. Look, I like Callejo. Does a nice job.
Yeah.
He's handling the offense.
Yep. So with 13.7 seconds remaining in the half, quite the drive for the Cajuns to answer. Gibbs to make it a 3-point game once again. May need to get a new net, Wade. That net's sagging in the middle there, and that's in the parking lot.
Well, you get it over the net, and you hit the bus in the parking lot, so you know your money, right?
There you go.
Your money.
There you go. 10-7 Country Day with 13.7 remaining in the half. Listen to this drive, Wade. 14 plays, 76 yards, took 8 minutes and 35 seconds off the clock.
Again, it just wasn't Schwing working there, right? Schwing was definitely the work where it needed to be, falling forward on the quarterback sneak, making a good decision when the receiver wasn't running a route, was Callejo. Callejo, I thought, captained that ship nicely.
Well, look at the things he did. He had the run off the right side. He had the quarterback sneak. He had the 2 big pass plays on the drive, the only 2 pass plays on the drive. Both completions, one for a first down, one for a touchdown.
Kicking off, number 9, Connor Gibbs, back deep.
And I can say this, and I can be confident about what I'm going to say. Davis can go yard in 13 seconds.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Right. You've got to defend here. There's no
You better
question
defend. You cannot go to sleep.
Yep.
Right.
No doubt.
This guy can take one in a minute and go 80 yards. This is going to hold up and come out.
This is coming out from about the 3-yard line. Coming down the near side. And a flag comes in behind as stepping out of bounds. That was Franklin at about the 40-yard line. So this is going to come back in all likelihood with 6.1 seconds remaining. Holding is going to be the call against Riverside.
Manuel Franklin, boy, I tell you what, he's got some wheels, right? He catches that ball. He's bringing that thing out. He was tired of having that thing go over his head out of the end zone, correct? So he's going to say, I'm going to show some wheels here. 555-pound senior. Takes that ball and like a shot, hits it down the boundary right there. The only problem is it's coming back with a hold.
And even with the hold, it's the best field position for Riverside today. 23-yard line.
You know, this is a game of angles, correct? And if you don't have the right angles on number 7, Elijah Davis, he can take it all the way in a minute.
They'll give it away to him. Let's see what happens. Davis makes one man miss, makes another man miss, still on his feet, and is finally tripped up as he got out near midfield on the final play of the first half. Davis gets 26 yards on the play. And he finishes the first half with 11 carries for 77 yards and a touchdown.
You know, in most instances, I would say that is a yeoman's job by the Country Day defense, right?
Look, you hold Davis to 77 yards and a half, a guy that's been averaging over 250 a game. Yes, that's absolutely yeoman's work by this defense. Quick thoughts on what we saw in the first half, Wade. I know the amount of running that we saw is, you know, old school, right up your alley in terms of, you know, how this game has been played.
Well, you know, I love to see the running game working, right? But I also like to see that play-action pass mixed in, and I think Country Day found, you know, that one little play-action pass, of course, with the touchdown, the little bootleg action right there. And, you know, Riverside's got to figure out a couple things. First thing, they've got to figure out the movement of that Country Day defensive line, correct? You can't block where they were. You got to block where they're going to be. You got to be able to be in unison and create zone blocking to be able to pick up all stunts, twists, and slants by the defensive line of Country Day. Once they get a handle on that, and I'm sure they're going to talk about that at halftime in the locker room, then that gets Elijah Davis, you know, off and moving, right? And I tell you what, he is impressive, right? We saw that one drive where he broke it down the boundary and he just turned on the jets, and you know, he can do a lot of things when he has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, no question about it. So the Riverside band getting set to perform here at halftime. For us at halftime, we're going to let Jude Young take you through the top 10s and all of the various classifications from Crescent City Sports, as well as give us a preview of tonight, which we can actually preview a little bit of what's coming up because we're here for this earlier kick. So Jude will take us through those top 10s and tonight's preview.
Afternoon football means we could take a look at the top 10s in the Crescent City Sports.com state rankings and get you ready for some exciting games tonight. That'll be covered by Crescent City Sports. And the original, starting in Class 5A as we look at the rankings, Destrehan 4-0, very much deserving of their number one spot with 4 convincing victories and as many tries so far this year. Catholic of Baton Rouge bounced back from a Week 1 defeat to an out-of-state opponent to roll to 3 straight wins. And Edna Carr, 1-3 by record, but undefeated on the field last week, blowing out St. Augustine in their Catholic League debut. How impressive is that? Well, St. Aug still sits number 4 in the CCS Class 5A rankings after their first defeat. St. Aug defeated Zachary 2 weeks ago, and the defending champions in 5A sit at number 5. Archbishop Rummel, still unbeaten, sits 6th. And number 7, Acadiana. They're another team that seems to be ramping up as they oftentimes do, playing better each and every week. Ruston showing their ability to battle back last week to rally past Lafayette Christian on the road. The Bearcats are 8th. Bird, the Yellow Jackets, still unblemished, sit 9th. And number 10 is John Curtis, winners last week in convincing fashion over Jesuit. In Class 4A, the defending champions of that classification, the Tigers of Westgate, now 4-0 and number 1. followed by De La Salle. They continue to battle through a tough schedule and win a variety of different types of games, finding a way to win the Cavs. Number 2, followed by number 3, St. Thomas More. Yes, they lost to the Catholic Bears last week, but still an explosive team that puts up a ton of points, and we're in that game with Catholic till the second half. We mentioned Lafayette Christian taking their first defeat last week. They're 4th in 4A, followed by Leesville, the Wampus Cats. Perfect on the season, as are the folks from Turlings Catholic, as they were able to knock off Notre Dame of Crowley. Big win for them in that long-time rivalry. Number 7, Warren Easton, 2-2, but they've played an excellent schedule as well, and they were in the finals of Class 4A last year for a reason. Lutcher, always, it seems, a factor, no matter what classification they're in. They're number 8 right now, and Neville, after a Week 1 loss, has played well 3 weeks in a row, back in the poll and sitting 9th. And number 10 is a perfect 4-0 North DeSoto. In Class 3A, the Farmers of Union Parish sit atop the rankings, followed by Amite, so some of the usual suspects. That also includes University Lab, speaking of playing a tough schedule, just 2-2, but still very much a factor, followed by E.D. White in the finals of Division II last year, carried by their defense, which looks like a strong unit overall again this year, despite last week's loss in a tough one to Woodlawn. Number 5 is Church Point. They've been really good in recent years. They're 4-0 right now. Madison Prep, another team playing a very challenging non-district schedule, sitting at 2-2 and ranked 6th, followed by St. James at number 7. Pine unbeaten. The Raiders 4-0 so far, as is Sophie B. Wright. That program building in a hurry under second-year head coach Kenneth Dorsey. And ranked number 10 is Carroll. We move to Class 2A and Manny. What can you say? They handled Newman in a game where their defense in particular really shined. The Tigers, number 1, followed by fellow unbeaten, and number 2, Episcopal. No shame in that performance for Newman as they sit right there with Episcopal in the top 3. Number 4, Oak Grove at 3-1, as is Notre Dame off of their first loss. St. Charles Catholic, a state champion last year, still a good ball club this year, battling through injuries at 2-2, sitting 6th. Number 7 is Calvary Baptist. It's good to see all of these teams, it seems, in out-of-district play taking on some real challenges. That's the reason why the Cavaliers have a couple of losses. Grand Lake, though, is 4-0. They're number 8. The Dragons of Mangum at 3-1 are 9th, and Vidalia rounds out that part of the poll with a perfect record at number 10. In Class 1A, Washita Christian, well, they went into Thursday night's battle with Washita, an interesting one, undefeated. They're followed by Homer at 3-1. Kentwood sitting there tied for second at 4-0. Of course, Homer was a state champion last year. Vermilion Catholic undefeated so far. Same can be said for Glenbrook sitting 6th, but they're behind perennial power Southern Lab at the number 5 spot. Logansport 3-1 and number 7 right now. Catholic Point Capee, a perfect 4-0 in the 8th spot. Riverside Academy, as you're watching now, and potent running back Elijah Bill Davis sitting 9th coming into the week, and White Castle, perfect so far this season. They are number 10. As for games to watch on a Friday night, you can certainly follow all the action on Ken Trahan's Original Prep Football Report on the original network, and some of the big games. We mentioned De La Salle playing a tough schedule. They're on the road at East Ascension playing up in class again this week. How about Rummel trying to stay undefeated as they face Scotlandville tonight? St. Thomas More playing a Denham Springs team that's playing pretty well to start the season. Turlings Catholic looking to avoid a letdown against Bro Bridge tonight. St. Aug will try to bounce back against the Jesuit Blue Jays at Cad Gormley this evening. And we look at East St. John traveling to Hanville, an important District 7 5A matchup there. And can Carr keep the ball rolling on the field at least as they take on a Brother Martin team that won the Catholic League last year. All that and more tonight on The Original, so enjoy the rest of the ball game and join us for 5 hours of live coverage of Louisiana high school football, starting with the Countdown Show with yours truly, Jude Young, along with Les East on McDonough 35 night. We'll have head coach Frank Daggs with us to look at the action and his Ron Eagles. All of that on The Original, but coming up, more of the halftime program as we get you ready for the second half of Riverside and Country Day on CrescentCitySports.com.
Let's listen into a little bit of the Riverside Band before we come back and break things down a little bit on the first half. Riverside Band getting a nice hand from both sets of fans here at halftime. 10-7. Country Day with the lead at the break, and Wade will take a look at some of the numbers of the first half. And you know what it says? It's been a clean, balanced football game with running. We have had a grand total of 4 passes in this game, no turnovers, and 2 penalties thus far. That's clean. That's as clean as it gets right there,
It's as clean as it gets. And the thing about it is it's about game planning, right? Riverside obviously is trying to use their strength and their might to be able to maneuver and, get into the end zone against a Country Day defense that is smaller. A Country Day offense, game planning, what are they trying to do? Keep the ball in good field position and hold on to it and keep Mr. Davis off the field, right?
Country Day's got an edge in rushing yards, 71-70. Riverside with the slight edge passing and total yards in this one. But it's virtually even. You look at the numbers, it's virtually even. 98-87 in terms of total yards here in the first half. And just about all of that came on those last drives of the first half. Each team put together a big drive in the second quarter, and that accounted for a lot of this.
Well, that and what you're seeing here is you're seeing 2 teams that are very well coached and have come in with good game plans, right?
No doubt about it.
And they're so far in the first half, both of them. Riverside would like to execute their offensive game plan a little bit more. I think they're going to have a little bit better handle as they come out in the second half, but you got to think what Country Day's doing. They are definitely, executing the game plan that they probably that I know that they've talked about all week.
What kind of halftime adjustments do you think we're seeing on both sides right now? Lee Roussel talking to his team and his staff, and Chris Chetta doing the same on the opposite side.
Well, let's talk about Riverside first. Offensively, they need to get a handle on the upfront stunts out of the defensive line. We've seen that since the very first snap that Riverside had the ball in the very first series of the first half, right? We saw movement, we saw pinching, slanting, twists out of the defensive line. They've got to and get Mr. Davis, the yardage that he's expected to rack up, right? Okay, so let's talk about Country Day defensively. What are they talking about out there? To be able to stop Mr. Davis. They're saying, hey, you better be in the right place at the right time in the right way with the right angle, because you will only have one shot at these guys, and if you miss that shot and we don't tackle, he's going yard on us. So that's what's going on from the offensive standpoint of Riverside and the defensive standpoint of Country Day. Now, the offensive standpoint of Country Day, what are they talking about? Hey, control the ball, no turnovers, run the clock, fall forward, stay on schedule, stay inside the sticks. Let's don't have negative yardage, right? Riverside's defense, what are they talking about? They're saying now, hey, we're bigger, we're faster, we're stronger. What we've got to do is we got to stop creating little mistakes by not being in the right place at the right time. Let's get our fits right so that way we can shut down this offense.
Well, one stat not on our halftime stats, time of possession. Country Day had 3 possessions in the first half for a total of 16 minutes and 25 seconds.
Well, that's according to game plan.
That's so you've more than doubled the time of possession of your opponent.
No doubt.
Riverside's only had the ball 7.5 minutes.
Look, that's the great thing about high school football. The clock comes into play as the largest element of the game if you want to let it be the largest element of the game, right? All right, let's look at the Saints with Drew Brees. Did they care about the clock? No, because they know they didn't have any timeouts. They had 35 seconds on the clock. They can go 90 yards, bang, right? Okay. High school doesn't work that way. So you've got to make sure that you punt, put the ball where it's got to be, make sure you have a lot of yard to your back for your defense to work. And then when you have the ball on offense, Country Day says, hey, let's stay with positive gains between the chains and run the clock.
Since you brought up quarterbacks, let's bring up some breaking news here. Of course, you may have heard today that it appears in all likelihood Andy Dalton is going to start at quarterback for the Saints on Sunday. Jameis Winston did not practice for a third straight day. The Saints officially listing him as doubtful for Sunday's game in London against Minnesota. The breaking news within the last few minutes, multiple reports now indicating that Michael Pratt will not play tonight for Tulane at Houston. And the Country Day fans watching us right now will want to know that it appears Justin Ibieta, the former Country Day quarterback, will make his first start. Of course, Justin's little brother plays playing out there for the Cajuns right now and back in the locker room with his teammates. His parents are in Houston to watch this, so they're not here to see it. But it's still that's a story to follow to see what happens there. The rumors started circulating earlier in the day. The smarts start figuring all these things out. The first people to find out these things are the people in the wagering industry, right? The line started moving a little bit on Houston, find out what was going on. The rumors were circulating, and sure enough, people at the game. Pratt is warming up left-handed. Well, he's in uniform, but he was warming up left-handed. He's right-handed. I'll just add that in.
That's why I depend on you every Friday when I show up and I say, okay, what is today's drama, right? Well, there you go. That's today's drama right there. I'm sure all the Country Day fans, as soon as they get done watching this great football game, they're going to rush home and get the Tulane game on and watch their young man that played here that we got to play. We called him a few years ago.
Yes, we did. I mean, there were some sensational games with him.
Played tonight, right.
Yep.
So
led this team to within 3 points of a berth in a state championship game. Was that 4 years ago?
4 years ago. Joe Chango was the head coach then, who is now the offensive coordinator at Rummel.
Yeah. So the team's coming back out, starting their warm-ups here for the second half. And look, it's, we thought that this would be a fairly evenly matched game. You look at the last 3 years, it's been 7 points, 1 point, and 2 points when these two teams have gotten together over the last 3 years.
Here's the other thing that we haven't brought up is, this game was a 4:30 kickoff. Riverside doesn't play 4:30 games. They play 7 o'clock kickoffs.
But they practice around this time every day.
But I'm just telling you, having coached teams that we've had to play 10 o'clock kickoffs, we've practiced at 10 in the morning. It didn't matter. It's an internal game clock in an athlete. It's just a little bit of a tweak. Country Day is used to playing 4:30, even though they have lights. They're very considerate of the neighborhood. Plus, it's always been one of the positives that Country Day has had on their sides, that little card in their pocket. Hey, guys, you coming to play at our place? You're playing at 4:30 in the afternoon. It kind of throws off that whole that whole game plan. School day's a little different. Your pregame's a little different. Your pregame meal's a little different, right? Your biology in your body is on a different time clock.
Pregame meal is lunch in the cafeteria.
There you go.
Yeah,
so it's just a little bit different, and it kind of throws things off. We didn't bring that up, so I wonder how that's kind of weighing on the Riverside Rebels.
Well, what we've seen. We've seen 3 outstanding running backs here. In the last 3 weeks. Well, last week, we got a chance to look at Harlan Berry at St. Martin's. 2 weeks ago, we got a chance to see P.J. Martin at De La Salle. I'm looking forward to next week, okay? It's probably our first chance this year, probably our last chance to see Arch Manning and Newman at Bell Chase We'll make our way down to Plaquemines Parish for that one. On the air at 6:50, kickoff at 7. And that should be a lot of fun. It's a pretty good Bell Chase team right now that's sitting there undefeated. And, will certainly be a test. And, since the last time you and I were there, there's, now nice artificial turf surface. It's,
right.
It should be a great atmosphere down in Plaquemines next Friday night.
Well, it's kind of like, I know Nelson Stewart knows this, when he comes into somebody else's house, it's like their homecoming every time they walk in. Why? You're playing Newman. A. B. You're playing Arch Manning. Right? So, Bell Chase is going to be ready, but Bell Chase has a very, very good football team. And then we all know, last week's game up was a true test, another true test for Arch Manning and the Newman Greenies going up to play a really good football team in Manning.
No question about it.
It's going to be a great football game.
Glad that game happened. No doubt about it.
Right.
And Newman is at Pearl River tonight.
Which is a good football team.
Brand new turf surface at the Pearl. So it's
Eric Collins, new head football coach at Pearl River, doing a great job coming over from the many
making
years of coaching in Mississippi.
Making his way back. And kind of really doing a new install job, I guess you would say, there at Pearl River, who has a fine running back also. Yeah, no doubt. All right, so we get ready for the start of the second half. Thankfully, they did not put 3 more minutes on the clock for warm-ups. That is one of those things. That is one of those things that has frustrated me for years. I've never understood that. Why a high school halftime needs to be longer than a college or a pro halftime.
Well, Lenny, you have your pet peeves, and I have mine.
Yes,
I can go off on a tangent, at any second about a pet peeve. Right?
Look, it's not hard. The field is cleared with 3 minutes left on the clock to allow for warm-ups, just like it is in college, just like it is in pros, okay? It doesn't require the clock running all the way down to 0. And, band parents and stuff, don't at me. There is enough time in there for, in a 20-minute halftime, there's enough time for both bands to perform for 8 minutes. So.
Years ago, we're playing St. Aug. I was at Brother Martin. And St. Aug played over their time, their band, their great Marching 100. Fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Fantastic band. Guess who got the penalty? The home team does. So I felt bad for Bobby Taylor having to run down and say, wait, you're not going to like this. But I got to throw a flag on you. You got a 5-yard delay of game penalty because St. Aug's band won't get off the field, right? I was wishing for 3 more minutes on that clock. Needless to say, I was a little perturbed, but those are the rules. That's Federation rules. The home team is in charge of management of halftime shows, right? And you got to make sure both teams' bands are off the field in the appropriate amount of time for the warm-ups.
All right, so here we go with the start of the third quarter. Craig Matt will kick it off. Riverside once again going left to right here in the third quarter. Country Day right to left. Little pooch kick this time. Found an empty spot, and it's handled and quickly defended out there at about the 26-yard line. Nice looking kick that time as Craig Matt just found the spot and dropped it in there, but Country Day managed to quickly pounce on it on the one hop, and they will start this drive. Let's see where they spotted. I believe at the 28-yard line.
Hey, if that ball would have been a little bit higher, a little bit more air under it, might have had a different story in the way that pooch kick turned out. Little low right there. That's something that is a huge weapon for a good kicker to be able to place that ball and get your coverage team under it.
All right, so the Cajuns take over on offense where it seemed like they had the ball for almost the last 8.5 minutes of the second quarter. On first down, running up the middle with Schwing. Got a couple on first down.
Well, they stay on schedule. They're in between the sticks, right? So Schwing just takes it right up inside on the isolation play. And look, that Riverside defense is huge up front, guys. I know you guys are watching at home, and right there, big number 5. Martell Henry Jr., 6'1", 270, man. I tell you what.
Amari Alexander, 54.
Look, I'd hate
next to him is 6'2", 315.
I'd hate to feed those guys pregame meal, right? I mean, those guys could probably pack away a lunch. That's some big dudes up front.
On second down, give it away to Schwing. And a nice play off the edge that time, and I believe that was Henry that came off the edge and tripped up Schwing for a gain of 2.
Henry discarded his blocker, comes down and makes the play. Martrell Henry. And look, I think he's only a sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, he's only a sophomore, right? So
there's a lot. Yeah. There's only one senior on this Riverside defense in Middleton, I believe.
Starting 3 sophomores.
Yeah, and White, number 8, Scott White also. So 3rd down and 5, a big 3rd down early in this 3rd quarter. Country Day wants to move the chains here and keep things rolling. Schwing tried to bounce it outside. There is Scott White, who we just mentioned, to help blow that up for no gain.
Nice job by Scott White. Biggest mistake Schwing made right there was not staying north and south. Watch him already in the hole. He needs, you see right there, the little bounce out? That bought time for everybody to catch up in the white jerseys, right? Once he made that first cut in the backfield, it's a one cut and go when you're downhill, right? And you get what you can get. Don't start making 2 cuts in the hole. That's when you're allowing everybody on the defense to start taking better angles to you.
So 3 and out, and Gibbs punts it away. It will be taken in at about the 30, tripped up. Nice play on coverage. Cade Middleton got tripped up after a return of about 5. So a 37-yard punt, a 5-yard return. And Riverside, with 9:41 remaining here in the 3rd quarter, will take over at the 35-yard line. Rebel offense takes the field, and it gives us a chance to remind you that today's coverage of Crescent City Sports is brought to you by Gabriel Shores, Kenner's newest multifamily condominium-style rentals on the levee of Lake Pontchartrain. Gabriel Shores features 2-bedroom units. We'll get back to that in a minute as the first down play happens. A quick pass out in the flat for a gain of about 2 yards. As that was Gupta, I'm sorry, not Gupta, that was Middleton, who we just saw a minute ago on the catch. 2nd down and 8 at the 37. So Gabriel Shores features 2-bedroom units, Caribbean-style architecture, vaulted ceilings, and open floor plans. For more information about leasing options, visit GabrielShores.com. Toss sweep on 2nd and 8, a little bit different look to the short side there as Davis will get the first down.
Okay, look, we talked about halftime's adjustments, right, and what was going on. Well, one of the things I'm sure that was talked about to the Country Day defense was, hey, you're only going to get 1 shot on this guy, right? You better tackle him the first time, because if you don't, all right, right there they missed the tackle. You can see exactly what happened. He's going to pick up extra yardage because this guy is that big, that strong, that fast. You've got to make sure you get him the first time. Country Day can't miss tackles like that.
At the 47, it's Davis. Gets about 6 across midfield to the Country Day 47-yard line, and he's closing in quickly on 100 yards.
Look, he's going to get his 100 yards, right? And that's the thing you tell your defense. Hey, you're not going to keep this guy under 100, right? What you want to do is make sure you take away the big jolt, the big splash plays from a really good running back like that. Make him earn every inch out there this afternoon. That's what you talk about.
He had gains of 24 and 26 yards in the 2nd quarter among his 77 first-half yards. Taking a shot on 2nd down the field. It is overshot, intended for Cade Middleton, who had a step on the defender.
Love the call. Hemel just needs to put a little bit of more air under the ball, and they would be looking at 6 points right there. Great job by that Riverside offensive line. Those guys with 2 seniors and 3 juniors did a nice job keeping that defensive line from Country Day from having any penetration. Yeah. He puts a little air under the ball and lets him run to it. It's 6 points Riverside.
I'll tell you about Hemel's arm. He's also a pitcher and a shortstop on the baseball team.
And they have a great baseball program.
He had 460 as a junior and had an ERA under 1. On 3rd down, still on his feet, Davis out past the 35, first down, Riverside.
2 missed tackles in the backfield. You cannot miss tackles on this guy. He is going to make yardage after the first contact. You can see it right here. You can see the first miss right there around the ankles. You got to make that play. Great technique. You just got to make the play now.
Of course, we should mention Riverside's baseball coach, also their athletic director, our longtime friend Marty Luquette. Good to visit with him before the game.
What a storied baseball program Riverside has.
Davis on the delay, got about a yard. Well defended that time by the Cajuns. Let's see.
Jake Ibieta in there. The little brother of the quarterback they'll be starting tonight for Tulane. You say little, he's 6'1", 220 pounds. Yeah. I bet he could pack away some groceries.
You know, Justin's what, 6'5", so I guess, you know.
Man, how do you feed those kids in a house like that, right? Yeah. Well, you got one out. He's getting fed by Tulane, right?
Julian and Juan both got some height on them. Of course, Julie played volleyball. Juan was a pitcher at Tulane. Pass is caught. Nice slant down to the 20-yard line. And interesting that we're seeing Riverside go to the air a little bit here.
Well, they hit Dedrick Lasty, 5'4", 130-pound sophomore on the slant. Nice hands, nice throw. Hemel puts it right on the money.
So at the 20. Quarterback keep this time. Looked like it was an option look there as Davis was waiting for the pitch, and that was well defended right there by Country Day. And we have called the name of Clayton Gaiman quite a few times already this evening, both on offense and defense. Makes the stop there for no gain.
Gaiman's right there. That's a perfect tackle. Nowhere to go.
Whistles, and we reach the 6-minute mark, and that is our hydration break, Wade. And so each team with one possession thus far in the third quarter. Country Day goes 3 and out. Riverside has moved from its 35 to the Country Day 20-yard line. I mean, you know, Riverside threw 2 passes in the first half. They've already thrown 3 on this drive. So that's an interesting adjustment to me that maybe, like you said, you know, you thought the Cajuns would try to stack things up and take away Davis, and that might be one of those halftime adjustments that, look, you know, we've got to try to put the ball in the air, maybe loosen this look up a little bit and open some things up for Davis in the running game.
Well, look, balance is the spice of life, right? Okay, so what do you got to do to get your running game going and get your man rolling? You're going to have to try to get somebody out of the box, correct? Who do you want to get out of the box? You want to try to loosen up those outside linebackers, those safeties coming down in there. That's going to give you 8, 9 people down there. So by throwing the ball a little bit off an RPO, off a little play action pass, a little slant here, take a shot down the field long like we saw on that one miss by Hemel, that's going to loosen your safeties up, right? That's going to get them out of the box. What that does is it also makes the defensive coordinator on the other side of the field to start thinking about it, about changing up his calls on certain downs and distances.
At the 20, play action. Got a man open. Incomplete. That was Davis on the wheel route who had a step on Taj Oberhelman, but just couldn't get it in there. It's 3rd and 10.
Look, Brock Mason came off on the wheel route very nicely. He sat out there. Watch him catch up with the receiver. I'm sorry, that wasn't Brock Mason. That was Taj Oberhelman. Tell you what, I'm impressed by Oberhelman. He does a nice job making sure he plays the run well, but he also gets to where he needs to be in the passing game. He had the back out of the backfield right there, and he did a nice job hooking onto the wheel route to try to create some defense between the receiver and the quarterback.
They go Wildcat on 3rd and 10. Davis on the carry. We got a flag down, and this is almost certainly holding. Is Davis got almost the whole thing there, 9 of the needed 10. So 3rd and 20 or 4th and 1, Wade. I don't think that's much of a decision, is it? Well, it's not 3rd and something. Let's see what it is. Of course, holding at the spot of the foul.
Well, they're going to mark it off 10 yards from the spot. There's your holding call. So absolutely, they're going to mark them back, and they're going to take the distance right there. You know, what a weapon Davis is. He can do it from the shotgun. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run the ball downhill.
It's going to be 3rd down and 18. Got this little throwback set up. Out to the 20, out to the 15. Breaks a tackle, out past the 10, and it's 1st and goal. And that's Scott White on the catch and run. Nice little roll and throwback that time, and well-designed play right there.
Well, Lenny, they set up tight end screen. You could see Scott White just kind of drifts after his pass blocking assignment right behind the offensive line that slides out, and there's nobody there from Country Day, and they pick up the big first down.
So the 3rd down and 18 call generates 22 yards. Davis on first down will run it to about the 4.
Jake Ibieta comes up from his safety position to make a nice play. Very great execution on the screen, like you said. It was perfectly set up.
So put it at the 4-yard line, 2nd down and goal. And into the end zone, Davis for the touchdown.
I want everybody at home watch the jump cut to his left, to Davis's left. Watch this. When we get the replay up from our great crew, you'll see him take one jump cut and get north and south. This is his MO. This is what he does well. Jump, bang.
Right there, yep. It's like you're changing lanes in traffic, and he just...
Exactly, without a blinker.
Yep. Point after is good, and we've got our 3rd lead change of the afternoon. Your new score with 4:31 remaining in the 3rd quarter is Riverside 14 and Country Day 10. The drive for Riverside, 13 plays, 65 yards, and that took 5 minutes and 10 seconds off the clock. And that was not all Bill Davis that time.
No, it wasn't.
We saw the passing game deliver in a big way as well. The arm of Luke Hemel showing up there. He had 3 completions on the drive, totaling 37 yards.
What that does is it puts a little question mark in the defensive coordinator from Country Day's mind now, because now he's got to think about a few other on his calls on down and distances, because he's now seeing Luke Hemel's arm this afternoon, right? So now he has got to start changing some things up. It's a great cat and mouse game. That's the reason why this game of football is just wonderful, isn't it? I mean, you counter what the other guy's doing. The coordinator from one side is countering what the coordinator from the other side is doing, trying to get your chess pieces in position. And like I said, throwing the football gives a little bit of balance to that Riverside offense, which kind of helps Davis do his thing.
Classic cat and mouse. Take that one on the run, and room to run this time. Snyder gets it out past the 40 to the 45. They tried that pooch kick once again. Snyder took it on the dead run and gives Country Day great field position to start this drive.
I love the pooch kick. It's a great weapon right there. They're just got to get it higher in the air. You either want to force the fair catch, or you want to force getting your coverage down under there to cover the ball for the turnover, correct? So you don't want the guy to catch the ball and run with it. That isn't the object of the pooch kick. So that's something they need to work on, is getting the ball up in the air a little bit more. Great field position again for the Country Day Cajuns.
So from the 46-yard line, give it away to Schwing off the left side, and wow, that is stopped in a hurry, and a nice play defensively by Cade Middleton up from his DB position. The senior gets the stop, no gain.
Cade Middleton there, also Wayne Hemel. Watch Wayne Hemel clean this thing up. Right there, nicely done. Good defense right there. Great job by also the defensive end, Martrell Henry, getting off of the reach block by the Country Day tight end.
So 4 carries for 5 yards here as the play clock is running down. They're going to have to hurry to get this off. 5-4 in the play clock, 3. I don't know if they're going to get this off. Let's see. The Country Day called timeout. They did. Chris Chetta got the timeout call in before the play clock hit 0. So first timeout of the half for the Cajuns comes with 3:40 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Just a little bit of confusion right there, and rather than take the 5-yard penalty, they'll try to get it sorted out before this 2nd and 10.
Well, they'll get it sorted out, and it's the right time to take the timeout. Again, they're playing the clock game, correct? So they want to make sure everything they do is on schedule and in between those sticks. They do not want to be behind the sticks. So if you've got to take a timeout to make sure everybody's on page and make sure that your guys that are going both ways get a little bit of a blow, right?
No doubt.
Get a little water in them and talk things over. You got to use those timeouts at the proper time, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, certainly if you ended up in 2nd and 15, now it makes it a lot harder to convert. If you run your defense back out there after another 3 and out, that's
it's not good.
That's not good. And at the same time, you obviously 2nd and 10 is not exactly where you want to be in terms of on schedule, but it's a lot more manageable than 2nd and 15.
Absolutely.
On 2nd down. Nowhere to go that time for Callejo, and he's going to live to fight another day and just steps out of bounds.
Look, smart play right there. Callejo doesn't throw the ball away. Everything's covered. All right. I like the play action pass again off the bootleg. They've had success with it. Eludes one, gets to the boundary, runs out of bounds to fight another day. Look, I think Callejo for a sophomore has really been managing this thing really well, right? He got thrown into the situation when the starting quarterback got hurt, I believe last week we said, and he has really stepped up and done a nice job. You can see his leadership skills. He's got a great future here at Country Day in front of him.
So the line to make is the Riverside 44-yard line. Whistles before this can get going. And another timeout, perhaps?
Well, I think the clock, play clock was run down, and so instead of taking it's about the yardage, right? The yardage would be a killer, right? Let's go ahead and waste the timeout. But the thing about it is you've got to make sure you don't want to take that timeout.
Now you've used 2
Correct.
timeouts here.
Too soon, too quick. It isn't what you wanted to do, but you can't give up that yardage. That's that hidden yardage. We talk about that all the time, right? If he would have taken the 5-yard penalty right there on the delay of game, which it looks like they're assessing it anyway. Looks like he did get it. They didn't get the timeout in quick enough. So there you go. That's your hidden yardage right there. Now you're looking at 3rd and a millennium, right?
3rd and 19.
Correct. It's a millennium. You don't want to be in that situation. That's what all week long you preached about in the locker room about staying on schedule, and they're off schedule here for 3rd down.
So 3rd and 19. Again, the line to make is the 44 of Riverside. Play action. Pass is incomplete. Little bit high for Yash Gupta, the receiver on the slant. And he brought it in. He was behind the defender.
Just behind the defender. He tried to fit it in a window. It's a nice throw by Callejo. It's just a little bit high. As he gets older and as he gets stronger, that throw he'll complete, right?
So on 4th down and 19, Gibbs will come on to punt.
But here's the deal, all right? The negative plays, the penalty that puts you off schedule, and now you're looking at punting. That's great field position for Riverside.
Got to run a man on late here. They only had 10 on, and Gibbs's punt is going to check up and take a Riverside roll here, and will go down at about the 46-yard line.
Well, you've got 2 problems. You got illegal procedure by the punting team because the band coming on the field did not get set soon enough, and then you've got your sand wedge shot, right, that checked up nicely, and it's going to put Riverside in a great situation. Do you want to back them up and punt it again, or do you take the ball where you're at?
I think at this point you take the football, but let's see. They do decline the penalty.
Right, there you go. I would have done the same thing. You've got the ball in great field position, and you seem to have things rolling offensively, right, because they're more in balance, and you make sure that you get the ball back into the hands of your guy, Bill Davis.
So the football at the 46-yard line with 3:21 remaining. They only took a minute 10 seconds off the clock right there. That was.
And again, that's not according to schedule. That's not what they wanted to do. That was not what they had been preaching about all week, about the way they want to attack things offensively.
Oh, now we'll.
Looks like they took the penalty.
So you could take it now. I know that's We see that rule now. So that's made it down to the high school level where you can actually take it after. Okay.
Correct.
So put it at the 48-yard line. Here's Davis on first down. We'll get about 4.
Again, Davis doesn't see anything outside. He makes that one jump cut, and he makes what turns into almost a complete loss, a 4-yard gain, right? You know, it's the subtleties of what this man brings to the table for your offense, right? No gain, 4-yard gain on an average run.
It'll officially go as 4, although it's a lot closer to 3. The ball just past the 45-yard line. On second down, play action. Throw it towards the tight end that time, and he simply could not bring it in. Scott White has got a couple of big catches on the game. Could not haul that one in. It was just a little bit out of his reach, and it's 3rd and 6.
A little bit high. Tight end delay, wide delay off of the play action. Love the play, love the call. Not a good pass. Something they'll work on. That's something that will be there in the future because your running game's working. It draws those linebackers in. You get that Y seam or Y delay. It's usually always there.
Davis on 3rd and 6 runs it to his own man, and the play is blown up. And Casey Rizzi among those there to grade him. It'll go officially as a loss of 1 on the play.
Casey Rizzi right there penetrates along with a few other Cajuns there in the backfield real quick. Right there, they run the little stunts up front, and then there's quick penetration running right past the Riverside offensive line that didn't pick up the slant.
So it's 4th and 7 at the 45 of Country Day. Need to get it to the 38. 4 wides. They'll throw it here. Pass is caught. Terrific catch and a great job of the toe tap out there by Emmanuel Franklin Jr. to get him down. And Riverside is in business here. First down out near the 20.
A little China route or smash route. Corner route by the number 2 receiver. Safety did not get over the top of the number 2 receiver right there as he should have. I think he was frozen with his feet a little bit looking into the backfield. And nice ball out there and a great catch on the boundary. There's a lot of names for that route. People call it China route. People call it smash route. It's one of those terminology things again.
Davis trying to get to the perimeter. Runs over a couple of would-be tacklers, and he goes down after about a gain of 7 on the play.
An ordinary run turns into a gain of 7. Nothing inside. He bounces it outside, turns on the jets, right? Then all of a sudden, he's staring at 100 yards. I got to think he's coming well within that.
124 yards on 20 carries for Davis. Right at 6 yards a pop.
And it doesn't look like it, does it? Right? Okay, it doesn't look like it because he hasn't ripped off the huge splash plays, right? He's earning everything that he's getting, but he takes the average play and turns it into a nice 4-yard, 5-yard, 7-yard gain. And we had a flag on the play.
Yeah, offsides against Country Day.
Can't line up in the neutral zone.
Nope, and that will not only get the first down, but it's going to be 1st and goal. The ball now at the 9-yard line. Little toss out to the left and not much room for Davis to work there. Might have gotten about a yard. Officially, maybe no gain, in fact.
They've ran that play 2 or 3 times. It's similar to just a toss out of the eye, trying to get him out on the edge as fast as he can. They'll pull the tackle real quickly out there and try to put a big mismatch out there on a corner. I'd hate to be that corner out there and see a big tackle that weighs 250 pounds or 300 pounds coming out on me.
So on 2nd and goal, Davis makes one man miss. Can't make the second man miss. Is brought down at about the 6.
Again, can't miss him, right? Jake Ibieta missed him in the hole. Coming up from his safety position, makes one man miss, and then he's off to the races.
And only got 3. So it's 3rd and goal at the 6.
There's the miss right there.
And you've got to think, this is Davis again, and then on 4th down, it could be Davis again after they got time to think about it because we're coming up inside 30 seconds in the quarter. different back in the game this time. How about that for the touchdown? It's Emmanuel Franklin lined up in the backfield, and he goes off the left side for a 6-yard touchdown run.
Quick as a cat, Emmanuel Franklin is. 5'5", 155. He bounces it outside, and nobody can catch him. They're back in the end zone again. Things have changed.
Right, so 8 plays, 46 yards, takes 3 minutes off the clock. The 6-yard touchdown run by Emmanuel Franklin. Point after is good, and your new score with 21.6 remaining here in the third quarter is Riverside 21 and Country Day 10. First time tonight, this evening, we have a 2-score game.
Well, you can see when you get off schedule as a team and you kind of don't follow what the game plan is, and that's what happened in the past 2 series with Country Day, right? Things can go awry real quick, right? They can get out of hand real fast. So what do you got to do? You got to stop the bleeding. First thing to stop the bleeding is first downs. Let's move the chains. Let's keep number 7 off the field over there. Let's get back on schedule. Let's continue to fight. We take 1 score at a time and get ourselves back into this. And then obviously, what does Riverside have to do? They don't want that to happen. They've got to get the ball back. They want a nice 3-and-out right here. Let's see if we get a sky kick again. Or pooch kick.
Work once, work twice, see what happens here. So Justin Ibieta on his first possession as a starting quarterback got Tulane down into field goal range. It was goal to go, and Tulane misses a 31-yard field goal. Trying to bounce this outside, but Schwing will get it out to about the 36-yard line.
Schwing does it all. I mean, oh man, isn't this great, right? You know, he's a fine athlete, right? He can be a receiver, he can be a running back, he can be a quarterback. He's a kick returner, punt returner. He does a lot with his athletic talent.
So officially at the 36-yard line, huge possession in this game for Country Day. And Schwing on first down, inside, got a couple on what will be the final play of the third quarter. We will change ends.
They'll change ends.
We'll change right. Colors.
And there you go.
And we get set for the final quarter of play. The third quarter was all Riverside. 2 touchdowns and 2 possessions. As we head to the fourth, Riverside 21 and Country Day 10. You are watching high school football from Crescent City Sports. All right, so here we go with quarter number 4 on this sun-splashed Friday afternoon, turning into early evening in Old Metairie. 2nd and 8. Pass left side caught, but nowhere to run that time as the little pass from Colejo out in the flat. That was Brock Mason on the catch, and just nowhere to go right there. And we've got an injured
and that's
Country Day Cajun.
Guys, that's Cade Middleton. coming up from his defensive back safety position and just, making a great hit out there. I mean, you don't have to talk much on the replay on a great play like that, right? You just kind of let the video do the talking, right? Isn't that what Vin Scully said?
Mm-hmm.
You got to let the video do the talking sometimes?
Sometimes you do.
And that was a great hit by Cade Middleton.
So when we resume, it'll be 3rd and 12. We'll check at 3rd and 13. They'll put it back at the 33-yard line. And that was Mason who was the shaken up
Yeah, it was good
Cajun on the play.
It's good to see Brock Mason get up.
So Country Day has gone 3 and out on its 2 possessions here in the second half, and it's going to take a big play to avoid it happening again as it's 3rd down and 13. They're going to have to hurry to get this off. Play clock is down to 8.
They don't want to take this to line.
They got it off with 1. Calejo throws incomplete, and that was in the direction of Gupta, and nice coverage out there by Caden Brumfield.
Caden Brumfield did a nice job breaking on the ball, getting his hands in there and raking that thing away. You know, look at Calejo. He's looking down the field, right? Nothing's there. He puts the ball in a nice situation, or should I say nice position, where only the receiver is either going to catch it. He doesn't throw the ball behind the out route where it's going to get picked for 6. So credit Calejo for making a good decision as a young quarterback to put the ball in the only place where the ball was going to be safe, either to the outside in a catch or an incomplete pass. But great coverage right there by Brumfield.
Punt will check up at about the 33-yard line. Thought there could have been a penalty coming. Country Day ran a man on late. He didn't come inside the numbers, but it wasn't called.
Have you noticed how things have changed according to the controlling of the clock here? It is definitely, I don't know if it's because, you have so many people playing both ways for Country Day. Could it be the physicality of Riverside has begun to wear on the Country Day players, but they are no longer controlling the clock, right? Country Day has taken over control of that clock and is controlling the offensive part of the game.
Chance to remind you to today's coverage on Crescent City Sports brought to you by Metairie Bank. At Metairie Bank, your success is personal to us. We've always been the biggest advocates for our customers and the community. Metairie Bank, locally owned and operated, built on the time-tested foundation of relationships and trust. Visit MetairieBank.com to learn more. Metairie Bank, member FDIC. Shot on first down. This will almost certainly be defensive pass interference. You get 2 flags coming in there as they had Cade Middleton lined up on the go route, and
Middleton just ran past William Singer, was that Brock Mason, right? Brock Mason was on the coverage, so he's beat, right? He got caught with his feet flat. So what he ended up doing was he knew he was beat. The only thing he could actually do was get there and interfere. So it was either going to be 6 points or it was going to be an interference, and it ended up being an interference.
no.
You can't stop your feet, right? If your feet sit down, then the receiver is leaving, right? Because he's even. If he's even, he's leaving, right? And you created the even by shutting your feet down. You can't shut your feet down. Another one of my pet peeves. You just can't shut your feet down. No. Feet got to be alive.
Yep. At the 49 now. Play action once again, and it is batted down at the line of scrimmage. Had a couple of guys with hands up right there. That was Jake Ibieta along with Hagen Mimelis.
Hagen Mimelis, I think, is the guy got his paw up on that thing. Let's see. Boom, right there. Big left paw. Knocked that thing down. 6'1", 223-pound junior defensive lineman.
So 2nd and 10. Davis will get it here. Out past midfield and across the 45 to the Country Day 43. It's a gain of 8 on the play.
Again, an ordinary play turns into a gain of 8, right? So he pounds it up in there. They run the power row. They're wrapping the guard around the backside. He gets up into the soft spot there, and he runs with low pad level, and he's going to pick up yardage every time he can get that pad level down and going forward, and he did for 8 that time.
This is 3rd and a long 2. And Davis once again, no surprise there on 3rd and short. Gets it to the 40, first down, Rebels.
Well, they move the chains, and that's what they've turned into being their ally right now is the clock. They're eating up clock. They're moving the chains.
Davis now 24 carries for 138 yards and a couple of touchdowns.
Normal day. Normal day at the office.
Still got 9+ minutes to add to that. Pass, far side, caught out near the 30-yard line. Let's see if they move the sticks. I believe they will. First down.
That was Cade Middleton on that pass reception. Nice little stop route over there on the boundary.
And Riverside is now at the 30-yard line.
A lot of guys going both ways, too, for Riverside now. So it's just not
doubt.
Country Day having most of their guys playing both ways. You know, Cade Middleton plays defense. We've seen him make some good tackles. Now he's catching the ball. He's out there on offense at receiver at the top of your screen.
Starting DB. Play action again. Hemel hit from behind and taken down. And that was Casey Rizzi for the 2nd time tonight with a sack.
Casey Rizzi right there gets him the first time. Does a nice job keeping contain out there. Watch from his defensive end position up at the top of your screen there. He's going to work. He's going to widen. He works on the block of Davis, comes off, makes a nice play, keeping contain on the quarterback, Hemel.
So 2nd and about 14. It's Davis this time. Churning forward, putting his head down and getting about 5.
Love the bread and butter right there, the ISO or the G play, whatever you want to call it, where they're wrapping the backside of guard around with the kick out block at the point of attack, and or leading the kick out block up on the linebacker in an ISO. Bread and butter for Riverside. They just showed their hand on the blitz, right? So that's what that stopping and looking over at the boundary does, right? It gets the defensive coordinator to tip his hand when the blitz is coming. And they've got a timeout. Just didn't get the play in properly.
And timeout is called here with 7:45 remaining.
Again, this drive could probably put it away for Riverside, you would think. So they want to make sure that they stay on their P's and Q's. They don't want to mess up. So something just wasn't coming in right from the boundary. But the thing that helped them and helped the staff from Riverside was they saw how Country Day tipped their hand, right? They tipped their hand on their blitz. Country Day had a linebacker blitz coming, and they gave Riverside a chance to check out the play that they were in.
So when we resume 3rd down and 9 for Riverside at the 29-yard line. Big game for the Rebels next week. We saw St. Martin's last week and, saw just how good, Harlem Berry was. Well, what a great matchup of running backs you got next week with Bill Davis and Harlem Berry going head-to-head.
Premier in the city.
Yeah,
Premier.
Look, those two and P.J. Martin at De La Salle, probably you'd take all 3 of those right now, or take if any coach would take any one of those 3 right now.
Absolutely. There's your check with me again. This time the Country Day, if they have the blitz on, they held their water. Looks like they've changed their front a little bit.
Pass on 3rd and 9, incomplete, in and out of the hands of Thomas Mazzella.
Mazzillo wants that back. Right now, I can read it in his body language, right? Needed to be caught a little bit high. He had to come off the ground, but you got to catch that football, and he knows it.
Yeah. So in the first half, Hemel only threw it twice. In the second half, he has thrown it 10 times. It's just part of that adjustment that we saw at halftime, taking what the defense is going to give you, trying to open some things up. So on 4th and 9, they will go for it. Hemel, far sideline, pass is incomplete as he tried to get it to Cade Middleton, who couldn't get the feet down. He was out of bounds, and Cajuns get a much-needed stop there on 4th down.
Guess who was out there covering them that time? None other than Jack Schwing.
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere. And what an athlete, right? What an athlete. Look, Country Day's still in this thing. They got 7:34. All right. They've got a great kicker. They just got to move some chains here. They got to get something going.
On 1st down. Pass is intercepted and headed back the other way. It's still on his feet, but finally knocked down. That was Caleb Brumfield, the sophomore DB.
Caleb Brumfield right in his hands. That's the rookie mistake.
Yeah, now that was I think that was actually Schwing at quarterback at that point. Take another look. He had gone back there and taken the snap and thrown that one, I believe.
Was that Kaleo or Schwing? Couldn't really tell. Couldn't really get the number.
Any case, Riverside is in business at the 12-yard line.
Ball didn't need to be thrown right there. It was forced in there, and that's resulted in the turnover.
From the 12. And Davis is bottled up. Give him 3 to the 9.
You know, if we get back to the interception there again, the thing that you don't want to do in a tight game like this is you don't want to force it, right? And that ball was forced, and we didn't really get to see who threw the ball. But the deal is you can't force the ball. And now we're getting word that it was Schwing that made that throw.
Now,
just can't
Riverside will look to run clock here. They'll snap it with 8. Davis up the middle falls forward to near the 5-yard line. Call it the 6.
You want to run that clock down. Down here, you just want to go ahead and get into that 4-minute mode, even though you're not under that 4-minute time limit, right? So you're going to take your time, getting your call in. You're going to work your play clock all the way down, and you're going to make sure that you score with as least amount of time on that clock as you possibly can have. You just don't want to take a penalty, right? Or sack.
On 3rd and 4. Pass is tipped. I believe that was Casey Rizzi. You got a finger on that one, and it's going to be 4th and 4.
Wow, Casey Rizzi is having a great day. Look at this athletic play right there, right? Boy, typical Troy Baglio teaching right there. If I get a chop, I get up. Chop up, get my hands up, and knock the ball down on the quick game.
I hope
very well coached.
Oh, Dad's getting to watch this one over in London as the Saints get ready for, and they're going to take the hydration break here at 6:02 on the clock with the stoppage. 6:02, they'll take the hydration break, and it sets up a 4th and 4 at the 6-yard line. And you go for this right here. I think no matter who your kicker is, even if the score was flipped and you're sitting there with Gibbs as your kicker, I think you go for this right here because you got a chance to make it a 3-score game.
I agree. You know, I think it's something that you can put the dagger in, 3-score game with.
Although I'm seeing, now granted, Matt also plays on the offensive line, so he's there, but can't tell if he's got a tee in his hand or not. Whether you try this right here and look to make it 24-10. And I believe they are going to kick it, Wade.
Okay, there you go. I mean, that
shows you that. Look, that's why I'm in the booth. and
well, look,
you've done this way more, and
right.
those guys are on the sidelines making those decisions, not me.
I think it's also all about, momentum, how you're feeling about everything going on around you, whether or not you go for it in that situation or you kick it. And apparently Lee Roussel feels the best thing to do is kick here.
23-yard field goal try by Matt is good. And your new score with 5:58 remaining in the fourth quarter is Riverside 24 and Country Day 10.
You had a 2-score lead. You go for it. You don't make it. The ball's right.
And maybe you give some momentum in the process. That's the other thing.
You give some momentum, but also if you don't make it, you're down there, and it forces a team that doesn't throw the ball very well has got to go over 90 yards, right? Mm-hmm. Or you go ahead and kick the 3, which they did, convert it, and you're still a 2-score game, 24-10, right there. And it just depends on the way you feel. You also have to have a pulse on your team, Lenny.
Sure.
That you've got to have a pulse, and you've got to know what the pulse is of your team. And every coach has a pulse. That's the reason why they're making those decisions. Been there, done that, and
a lot of times, look,
right.
In this day and age,
you got to have a pulse
with all of the analytics, the charts, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's, look, there's info for everything out there, but every once in a while, you got to trust your gut, too.
You got to trust your gut. You got to have the pulse.
Here comes another attempted pooch kick, but this one's going out of bounds, and Country Day is going to start with good field position. I think it went out before the 35, so refresh my memory here. Wade, is that a spot, or is that 5 yards from where it goes out of bounds? And
that should be marked off from where they kicked the ball, if I'm not mistaken. It should bring it up to the 35-yard line.
Well, normally if it goes out past that, you get it at the 35, but this went out before then.
So it's coming from where the ball goes out, which would be the spot, 5 yards.
And they are they're going to mark it 5 yards forward from the point of where it went out of bounds. So Country Day is going to start this drive at the 43-yard line.
Just depending on where the ball went out, and I couldn't see exactly where the ball went out at, so then you're correct. Absolutely, it becomes a spot foul 5 yards from where it goes out of bounds.
So good field position here for the Cajuns. You got to strike and strike quickly right here.
Yeah, not a lot of time. You got to be able to get some splash plays going.
Yep, and it's Calejo back at quarterback here. And he will take a shot on first down. Got a man, but he overshot him. His receiver gooped ahead 2 steps on the 2 Riverside defenders. That could have been 6, and he would dropped it in there.
Calejo's going to look at that on film tomorrow, and he's going to say, oh, my goodness, I missed that. He's going to want that back. Had his arm hit a little bit just as he was releasing the football. A little bit more air under that. Young guys got to learn when you throw the deep ball, you got to put a little more air on it and allow the receiver to be able to run under the ball instead of putting it on a missile, should I say a missile strike, right? Yeah. And that was a missile strike. I'm impressed with Calejo. The young guy's got a nice arm, and he's going to have a great future. He's got a lot of football going on in his life. He lives, he's in the family of Graham Jarrett. He's Graham Jarrett's nephew, so I'm sure he's getting coached up once or twice a week off the game film also from Graham Jarrett, who is the head coach at De La Salle.
Third and 10 as that one goes incomplete. Saw Graham's team a couple of weeks ago.
What a good football team he has.
No
what a
doubt.
Great job is he doing over at De La Salle. Great staff and one of the better running backs in the city.
P.J. Martin, you felt for him last year with the ankle injury against Landry, and then did not return the rest of the season, and might have had a chance had they made a deep run in the playoffs to get back late in the year. Of course, De La Salle got beat in the quarterfinals at U High, who eventually won that Division II state title. Calejo rolling, throwing. I don't know if that's a pass or if I believe now they're going to call it incomplete. They took their time. Now they took their time on the whistle, and I give them credit for that. But the arm was going forward.
The arm's going forward. It's a sack. take a look at it again. Little twist. You can see the defensive end, number 8, coming off of the twist right there. And that was Scott White doing a good job chasing down Kaleo. Kaleo's got to learn to tuck that ball away, right? That's a rookie mistake. He can't just kind of let the arm flail out there as he's going down to the ground, because that could become a fumble quickly. I believe the arm was going forward, so they're going to treat that as an incomplete pass. But we got a flag out there. I wonder what this is about. They might call grounding. Was there anybody in the area?
Well, the arm looked like it was hit, so that's one of those things. But from what I understand now, at least at other levels, that is not a factor.
Right.
You're still responsible for where the ball goes.
Correct.
Well, we'll get the call here in just a minute, or are they going to wave it off? Nope, they're waving it off.
I'm going to tell you why they're waving off, because the Federation put a new rule in just as similar as college and the pro. If you're outside the box and you're fighting, which he was outside the tackle box, that no longer is grounding. That's a good pickup. That's a right call by the officiating crew. I'm impressed with this officiating crew here today. They've done a nice job. Let the kids play. Called the obvious. Pick up a flag when it is correct.
So, of course, 4-down territory here with 5:36 remaining. Kaleo got room to run if he wants to step up. Instead, he's going to let it fly in the direction of Schwing. A lot of hand fighting down there at about the 20-yard line. Incomplete, no call.
Again, a great call. You had a hand fighting both ways, right?
Yep.
I don't blame Schwing for, becoming a lawyer.
Yep.
I got it.
And that when you talk about guys going both ways, that was Emmanuel Franklin down there on defense.
Right, but there's a lot of hand play. You can see it right here. A little push off, little shove back, a little play off. Great job by the official with the no call. Great job. And you see Schwing appealing his case, right? Hey, look, great job by that Country Day offensive line right there to give time for Kaleo to maneuver in the pocket and to throw the deep ball.
I thought he might have had room to run. Now, when you know you've got to get 10 yards there, I think you end up throwing the football. But I thought he might have had some green space in front of him to maybe get to the sticks. Of course, sticks are on the far side of the field right now, so it's you couldn't see exactly where you needed to get to.
And that all comes into his sophomore ability, right? And he's only going to get better.
Hemel will run it with plenty of room to run, getting the first down and then some. Best run of the night for Hemel.
He's athletic, right? We already talked about him being a great baseball player. Right here, he just runs quarterback draw.
He's going to get some looks on the bait. He's he's a guy that could certainly play at the next level, whether it's a 2-year or 4-year college.
Very athletic. Leader. He's a senior, 5'11", 185-pounder.
16 on that run, get out to the 27-yard line. So, at the 27, he's going to run it again. Interesting call here, gain of 5. Really haven't seen that the whole game, and now all of a sudden you run back-to-back quarterback keepers.
Schwing makes the tackle out there. Quarterback draw, wrap the guard around. They're also trying to ISO up on the linebacker right there. He bounces it outside, and Schwing makes the tackle. Working the clock.
Under 5 minutes left in this one. Davis tonight, 27 carries, 149 yards.
Normal day at the office.
Just a normal day at the office. Actually, look, give the Country Day defense credit as Riverside's going to call timeout. This is a guy who came in with 1,022 yards in 4 games. You do the math, that's about 255 yards a game. You hold a guy 100 yards below his season average. There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Look, Country Day has done a great job defensively, right? They made him earn everything. And today, except for maybe 1 or 2 plays by Davis, he didn't have big splash plays, right?
Right.
He had 4, 5, 7, 8, 5, 4, that sort of thing. And he's earned everything he's gotten for his, normal day at the office. And that's a credit to Country Day and their defense.
Now, 26-yard run on the last play of the first half, which you're basically playing safe at that point. There was a 24-yard run on that previous drive. That's been the only 2 runs of over 20 yards today.
There you go.
So they've made him work for that 149 yards.
Which I'm telling you, if you walk in and you look at the game plan that's up on the board in their office, Country Day's office, that's one of the things that I'm sure Troy Baglio and his defensive staff wanted to make happen.
Stop 7.
Make him earn it. Everything he does. No splash plays.
2nd down 5. Here's Davis. And brought down. Nice job defensively by the Country Day front. That was Jake Ibieta along with Henry Thompson on the stop right there.
Henry Thompson with the tackle.
Also, linebacker Alden Sinnett in there. 5'4", 155-pound senior sticking his nose up in there and getting part of that. God, I love it. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Whistles and see what this is all about here. I think
might be an equipment
issue. Yeah, that they've got to make a change.
Right,
heading off to the sideline.
Could be equipment. It could be medical.
Yeah, I think that was Sam Hoyt, one of the offensive linemen who headed out.
For the folks at home, if blood is showing in a Federation game, you've got to go over and fix it and make sure the blood stops. So it could be a blood situation. When I say medical, anything like that.
3rd and 3 at the 20. We'll let this play clock run down to 4. Quarterback's going to keep it. Almost had a fumble there on a mesh. And into the end zone for a touchdown goes Luke Hemel.
Everybody home says, well, why didn't he give the ball? What's going on there? That's your zone read. Reading the last guy at the end slow played it, right? He kind of sat there, and Hemel, it's got to be a mesh, right? Mesh meaning that it's half and half give, half keep, right? So he yanks the ball out, and it becomes a little bit tangled up right there, but it's clean, and he takes the ball around the end, and after the disconnect, scores the touchdown.
Point after is good, and your new score with 3:33 remaining is now Riverside 31 and Country Day 10. Riverside 24 unanswered here in the second half.
Here's a good look at it. There's the read. And
I was waiting for the fumble. It was awkward on that mesh.
No, it's the ride, it's the read, it's half yours, half mine. All right, then he pulls the ball. He's in control of giving it or keeping it, right? The quarterback is in control. Let's go all the way back to the Wishbone days. Remember those days? Quarterback ride, so on and so forth, and you say, well, how does he, he's reading something, and then he's in control of whether or not the ball is given or whether or not the ball is disconnected. The quarterback makes that decision, not the running back. Sorry, running backs, you don't get to make that call. And that's an option. That's right.
The interesting part to me in all of this is, one, we didn't see Hemel very much in the running game until that drive.
Yeah,
it was almost like they held it back and said, you know what, you've been focused so much on Bill Davis. Now we're going to give you this dose of this, and everybody who's watching this game, watching this film, here's something else for you to think about right now.
Correct. A lot of weapons out there for Riverside, and that causes defensive coordinators not to sleep at night.
Yeah. From the 15, trying to make another man miss and find room to run. A nice return that time by Gupta out to near the 45-yard line. He was one man away from maybe going the distance.
Really nice return. Good blocking up front by Country Day. You can see there's a nice body on a body, white blue jersey on a white jersey. A little crease right there, and he makes the most of it. And they're out right about to the 44-yard line.
Yep. Big return right there. All right, so let's update you on the Tulane-Houston game. The good news for the local fans, Tulane leads Houston 7-0. The bad news for especially Country Day fans, Justin Ibieta left the game on the second series. Kai Horton is now in at quarterback.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not sure what happened to cause that, but Callejo keeps it for about 14 yards and a first down.
Watch Callejo here. Calm, doesn't see anything open. Let's take off and run. Only thing I like to see him do is tuck that football away. You see how he's kind of holding it out there in his forearm? That'll be addressed, I'm sure, by the coaching staff, right? Put the ball away. Once you're ready to roll, put it away, high and tight.
The ball at the Riverside 43-yard line. Clock stopped since he ran out of bounds. Callejo taking a shot down the field, got a couple of men down there, and a terrific play to break it up right there. And that was Middleton on the stop, or on the pass defense there. There were 4 white jerseys and 2 blue jerseys in the area.
The problem is the 2 blue jerseys were in the same spot. That was Schneider and Gupta right there. The ball was well thrown. But when you got 2 defenders or 1 defender back there defending 2 receivers, you got an issue, right, on your route tree. So somebody wasn't in the right place. Nicely thrown ball by Callejo that time also.
2nd and 10 at the 43 with 3:07 to play. Callejo pass is incomplete. Well defended that time. It was intended for Snyder and broken up by Caden Brumfield.
Caden Brumfield's a good football player.
That's good timing right there.
Right.
He got right there. He met ball and receiver at the same time.
Got there at the same time, got a hand in and raked the hands of the receiver on the high-low route or the smash route right there. Some people call it China. But Caden Brumfield is a good football player.
So 3rd down and 10. Gage is going to have to hurry, just 10 on the play clock. Callejo has room to run. 40, 35, 30, trying to get to the outside and maybe get out of bounds. Takes on a tackler. He's still inbounds.
Oh, my
See
goodness.
what the flag's about. Holding Country Day.
That's coming back. Again, Callejo does a nice job looking downfield. Everything's covered up, right? Great protection right there, and now he takes off.
And let's see where they mark it from. Oh, this is well in the backfield, is it? Oh, my goodness.
That's going to be biggie.
Yeah, that's... Put it down at the Country Day 41-yard line. So instead of a 14-yard gain, it's a 16-yard penalty.
Should we say this is another one of our pet peeves, spot fouls in the Federation?
I understand the reason for things that they do is to ease of enforcement. That's not ease of enforcement.
No, it isn't. Not especially when you can go back to the line of scrimmage and count off 10 yards.
Exactly. So the line to make is the Riverside 33-yard line. They're back at their own 41. Callejo stepping up, firing, incomplete.
Just too much air under that one. He needed that air under one of the longer passes back in the last series. But again, I want to credit this Country Day offensive line doing a nice job giving Callejo some time to throw the football there. His intended receiver was Taj Oberhelman, who is also a great linebacker.
Yeah, look, he's shown us a lot tonight.
Boy, is he a good football player. Yeah, he's a good football player.
Lined up at wide receiver. Linebacker who can get out and cover.
Right. It's amazing how Country Day turns out good football players year after year after year.
Without just number. A lot of times there's just not a lot of numbers here. Hold everything. Timeout Riverside. They were not set up to handle whatever was coming from Country Day right there.
No, they're in the wrong coverage. They didn't cover the number 2 receiver out here. I'm up here pointing at the number 2 receiver because he's wide open. I don't know if the quarterback, Kaleo, saw that. And then before anything take place, Riverside calls timeout to make sure that mistake is covered up. And you could see the emphatic motions of the Riverside defensive staff over there talking to their players. And I don't blame them. You got to get lined up, guys. You got to get lined up. You can't play this game without lining up, right? Stance and alignment. Stance and alignment. Alignment and stance, however you want to put it. Oh, my goodness. I hope Ibiad is okay for Tulane. They would be down there their third quarterback now, right?
Horton started last year against Cincinnati. And
okay. So he's
really
right.
He's not,
he's had time.
He's been out there, but
okay.
It's that's certainly unfortunate.
We got fourth and an Uber ride here. I mean, Riverside playing a lot of prevent right here.
And whistles.
Cajuns.
Now Country Days.
Right.
No, that was a
delay a game.
Was it a delay or did they have 12?
Illegal procedure.
No, I think they had 12.
Participation.
Participation.
Yeah, I was trying to get out the word participation. All right.
Yeah.
The 12 people on the field. They had the wrong personnel.
It's by the way, for Ibiad, apparently it is also a shoulder injury. He
oh my goodness.
Lowered his shoulder on a defensive back and injured his right shoulder.
Oh my goodness. All right, so it's still fourth and an Uber ride here, right?
Yeah,
okay.
4th and 31 right now. Scoreboard says 21, but pass caught. Past the 50, 45, out to the 43. Got all the yardage back they had lost, but that was it there.
Mason Snyder fighting to get at least to the inside the sticks from where they first started, and he did achieve that, but they had a long way to go. Again, Kaleo does a nice job scrambling, getting out of there, avoiding the rush, finding the open receiver, and delivering the football.
So Riverside will take over on downs at the 43-yard line with 2:09 remaining. And Country Day's out of timeouts at this point. This could just end up being 3 knees, perhaps. I don't know. Let's see. Or you just maybe give it to Bill Davis once, get another first down, and that might be enough. He'll give it to Davis. It's well defended that time by the Cajuns. Sam Schlesinger on the stop, the senior, plays on both the offensive and defensive lines. Wraps up Davis for a gain of 2. So that's now, by my count, 29 carries, 153 yards for Davis. And look,
right.
I tip my hat again to this Country Day defense for really, you say 29 for 155. They've kept Davis in check tonight.
Yes, they have. It's been a normal day at the office like that, except for the splash plays, and that's what they wanted to make sure they didn't do. Talking to Troy Baglio before the game, they wanted to make sure that he earned every yard that was a part of their game plan, and he has.
Now they'll give it to Franklin, who's going to get to the edge and get the first down.
And that should be it. They should be able to kneel it out now.
That's an interesting change-up that they can take Franklin and line him up back there. Davis is more of that, power back in there, and then Franklin gives you that speed off the edge. So, indeed, it looks like they're going to go under center and line up in victory formation.
Well, Franklin can get lost behind those big offensive linemen because, he's only 5'5", 155 pounds.
Right.
And they'll kneel it down.
1 knee with 38 seconds, and won't need to run another play.
Every offensive coordinator's favorite formation, favorite play, right?
Yep. Teams will head back and get ready to shake hands. Wade, your thoughts on what we saw from both of these teams this evening?
Well, look, these are two good football teams, right? Country Day was, according to plan, they could last a half, basically, is what ended up taking place. And then Riverside comes out and just kind of flexes their muscle, and they find their throwing game, right? And once they found the throwing game and they flexed their muscle, it kind of, things kind of went south for Country Day. But you got to credit Country Day's effort and their chutzpah, should we say, especially defensively, for making sure that Bill Davis had to earn every yard. Hey, I am so impressed by this running back, and it's going to be a great match of two of the better running backs in the city next week over at St. Martin's.
Yeah, we've been fortunate here the last 3 weeks to arguably see the three best running backs in the metro area. There are others, okay? We've obviously got a lot of talent, but based on numbers, those are three outstanding running backs, and we've seen something different from all of these guys. And next week, we just get to see the number one ranked player in the class of 2023 by most folks, Arch Manning and Newman against Bell Chase. Looking forward to that one. Wade, it's been a pleasure. Thanks to you.
Always.
Thanks to Chip Merritt. Thanks to Matt Merritt for helping us bring it all to you this evening. Once again, your final score from Old Metairie, Riverside 31 and Country Day 10. For our entire Crescent City sports team, I'm Lenny Van Gilder saying so long. We will see you next Friday night from Bell Chase.
All right.